Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, February 8th, 2015. This is episode 1160. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that connects people who are looking to borrow money with those who have money to lend. Visit prosper.com/twit and receive a $50 Visa prepaid card when you get a loan. And by HipChat. Collaborate, save time, and be more productive with your teams. HipChat is IM, video chat, plus file, code, and screen sharing all in one place. Invite your team members and get a free 30-day trial of the full version of HipChat at hipchat.com/techguy. And by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you can grow and protect your wealth. Best of all, it's free, and for a limited time, Twit viewers could qualify for up to $10,000 on any new account. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy here. Time to talk about tech, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, and of course, smartphones. Phone number 888-827-5536. It's easy to remember if you just go 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Toll free from the U.S. or New Jersey, and or Canada. But outside of the U.S., New Jersey, and Canada, you can also use Skype, and it shouldn't cost you anything to get there. 8888 Ask Leo. You know, let's see, what happened today? What happened this week? Oh, Apple. Did I talk about Apple last week? I can't remember now. The most profitable quarter in the history of not just Apple, but of all mankind. $18 billion in 1 year. I guess I talked about that in 1 quarter. Not 1 year, 1 quarter. I talked about that last week. I had actually set up a spreadsheet to figure out how much money Apple made per minute, per second, per hour in the last quarter. But then I did another spreadsheet. I'm opening up my laptop so I can look at it. That figured out how many Apple iPhones they sold. Because they sold 74.5 million iPhones in 3 months. And I did a little math. It comes out to 10 iPhones a second, every second for 3 months. And that's an amazing number, especially when you compare it to the global birth rate. There are 4.1 babies born every second in the whole world. That seems like a lot. But if you're selling 10 iPhones a second, you're going to run out of people to sell it to pretty quick here. You're selling iPhones more than twice as fast as people are being created. So, folks, you're going to have to buy a couple more iPhones. One per person is not going to make it. How we expect Apple to continue to grow? 74.5 million iPhones in 3 months. Wow. That's pretty amazing. I did talk about that last week, but that one number I thought was pretty cool. Pretty interesting. Read an interesting story in ProPublica this week, which I kind of was telling. I've talked before about privacy online. And we talk about it a lot because I think people are very concerned about privacy online and protecting your bits online so people don't know who you are, or And the message that the takeaway, if you take away nothing from this show, is if you're online, you're in public. The internet is basically a public spot. So don't kid yourself when you're sending that Snapchat or when you're posting pictures to only your homies on Facebook or don't kid yourself that stuff is not in public. It's not. It's going out of your control. It's going up to the internet. And there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it. We talk a lot about how Apple and Microsoft are going to protect your privacy, and Microsoft talks a lot, used to anyway, about how Google doesn't care and blah, blah, blah. It's all this. You lose control of it as soon as you digitize it and you put it in. I mean, the internet is public. But there is an exception, and the exception is if you encrypt. So I also talk about that a lot. The idea that you can scramble data in such a way that only you and the recipient can read it. Like I'm going to say it again, the Captain Midnight decoder ring. I got a very interesting email from somebody who apparently is a Captain Midnight expert. Said, Captain Midnight never did a decoder ring. So that name, the Captain Midnight decoder ring, seems to have kind of worked its way into public consciousness. But his name, I should give him credit because he's an expert on Captain Midnight, apparently. Stephen Callis Jr. Thank you, Stephen. And he sent me pictures of the mystery dial codograph, but it wasn't a ring. The Keyomatic codograph, a topologically homeomorphic to the Alberti disk encoding device. The Captain Midnight television show had decoder pins. These are also so-called Alberti disks. So thank you, Stephen, for clarifying that. There never was a cryptological decoder ring until Johnny Quest. Remember that cartoon, Johnny Quest? He had a decoder ring, so no wonder we're all confused. Anyway, a little trip down memory lane there. But the point being that there's something even better than a Johnny Quest decoder ring or Captain Midnight decoder disc. And it's something called public key cryptography, and it's a miracle. It's amazing. And whenever people ask me, well, is it secure? I say, trust the math. It is amazing. And it's clever for, as I've mentioned before, for several reasons, but one of which is that you have two keys. You have a public key, which everyone can have. Everyone can have the public key. And then you have a private key. The public key is used if somebody wants to send you a secret message. They don't need, and this is a big, in the days of the Johnny Quest decoder ring, both sides needed to know what the code was. And even the German Enigma machine, both sides needed to know what the code was. And that's risky because you have to send the code in addition to the message. If somebody intercepts the code in the message, you're done. So public key crypto, not necessary. In fact, my public key is published on my website, leoville.com. I give it away. Anybody can see it because there's nothing they can do with it except make secret messages that only I can read. Similarly, if you give me your public key, I can encrypt to you, but keep a hold of that private key, because that private key is what you use to prove that your identity. If you use the private key to sign emails, they don't have to even be encrypted, but that email can only be signed by you if you're the only one holding the private key. And only you, as the holder of the private key, can read those secret messages. And to the best of anybody's knowledge, no one, including the massive capabilities of the U.S. federal government, the NSA, has been able to decrypt these encrypted messages using strong public key cryptography. So that's good. And it means that the best thing you could do if you want to be private on the internet, there is a way, is to make sure that everything you do on the internet is encrypted using the public key of the recipient. It's not practicable. Amazon.com doesn't, well, actually, it is practicable in some senses. It's certainly the way that when you send a credit card to Amazon or your bank or financial information, that is encrypted that way with public key crypto. So it is practicable. But we'd like to see everything done that way, email and everything else. There is a fella, and this is the article I was reading in ProPublica, named Werner Koch, who has, since 1997, been maintaining something called GNU Privacy Guard. This is something I recommend and use, GPG. He maintains a Windows version of it called WinGPG, and then there's a GPG Tools for the Macintosh. There's also Enigmail. You might have used that for a Thunderbird. GPG for Win, and I'll put links to all this stuff in my show notes, GPG Tools and Enigmail. And it's open source, which is good. Open source crypto is the only really safe kind, because then you can look at the source code and make sure that no government has put a backdoor in there or anything. But this article kind of made me sad, because he's been doing this since 1997 and he's going broke. Because he's been doing this in lieu of a job. He's been almost single-handedly keeping it up to date. He's 53 and he's running out of money and he's running out of patience. He says, I'm too idealistic. In early 2013, I was ready to give it all up and take a straight job. But then the Snowden leaks came out, and I realized, he said, this was not the time to cancel. But it kind of makes me sad because we have so much money. We spend so much money on commercial products, and no money at all on this very important open source technology. He says he's made about $25,000 a year since 2001 as a consultant. And I just feel like we should spread the word, and we need to get this guy some money because this stuff's great and it's needed. Enough said. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We should do. There is this great thing called Keybase, Keybase.io. That is a really great project for sharing keys. So the big issue, of course, is how do I've got a public and private key. I've created a key pair using GPG tools or GPG for Win. But how do I let people know what my public key is? And this great thing called Keybase does that, which is so sweet. It's a little geeky, as is all encryption technology, unfortunately. When Edward Snowden wanted to leak his papers to Glenn Greenwald, the journalist, he said, Glenn, you need to use, I'm not going to communicate with you unless you use PGP or GPG. Actually, he said GPG. And Greenwald said, I don't know, I don't know how to do that. It wasn't until later when somebody helped him figure it out. So, Keybase.io is created by the co-founders of OkCupid, and I am a member. So if you search for Leo Laporte on Keybase, you will not only get my public key, but you'll get some validation. Hey, why can't I search? Oh, there it is. It's me, because you'll see this is my public key, so you could use to encrypt stuff to me. But you'll also see, because I tweeted from my verified account on Twitter and my verified account on GitHub. Oh, I have an invitation available. So then you can track other people that you know and track their keys. It's kind of cool. The problem is I don't think GPG Tools works in Yosemite. Let me see if they've updated it. The problem really is, they're beta 5. Yes, you can. You can now run it on 10.6. The white noise, you hear that? That's not white noise. That's rain. It's not white noise. That is rain. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. Sounds like white noise.
And now it's calmed down.
It's better than it was, yeah.
It was real, when you were doing your thing.
Yeah.
Especially on my side.
Yeah. Well, we have I don't know what kind of roof we have, but it's not a very good roof. It's a wooden roof with foam.
And there's skylights over there and there.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't think the skylights are, I think it's just
No.
coming through the wood on the roof.
It sounds wonderful in the kitchen where the skylight is.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Whew. Hey, did you see my surfing picture?
No. Is it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. That was lame.
Were you surfing?
I did.
When?
I was in
Hawaii?
On Oahu last week.
Neato.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that it? No.
Sorry.
Is that it? No. It's Paul Thurrott's surfing pictures. He's snow surfing.
Total mini brag or huge brag, but
Did you get it right up?
oh God, I had 2 lessons, and it was just so fun. And
Oh, look at you go.
that was the first day, even. So it's like,
Look at you
after
go.
that, I really got good.
You look like Blue Pacific or whatever then.
Changed my life.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're playing a little BJ Thomas because it's raining pretty hard in Northern California right now. And so I noticed that some people in our chat room. We have a great chat room, by the way. You can get to that through our website, techguylabs.com. And some people in the chat room said, Leo, what's all that white noise? Like, oh, there's distortion or something. No, that's the rain hitting the roof. So if you hear like that's rain. Heather Hammond just came back from Hawaii, where, holy cow, you surfed.
I did indeed.
Was it fun?
Oh, it was the best. I'm still have a natural high off that wave.
Little surfers. You look good. Did you get up right away? Because that's a hard thing to do is balance on that board. Had you ever done it before?
I've had lessons here and there, but this trip was really amazing, and I'm addicted. I need to do it again.
Are you a longboarder?
Sure.
Whatever that means, I am.
I had such a great teacher, too. I loved this. He referred to the waves on Waikiki Beach as classy.
Classy.
I'm like, oh, well, they're perfect
classy.
for me then.
That was just right for me.
I don't ride anything but classy.
And you say, because Heather worked for years for Dr. Dean Adele, and you said, I didn't know this, but his open was from New York City to Waikiki Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And there you are in Waikiki Beach.
It implanted in my head and stayed there until I finally got it out of me.
Hawaii is great, isn't it? It really is. It's really beautiful. We have calls, I think.
We do.
Look, I see lots of blinking lights. Usually means there's callers. The power, and I should warn Nathan, the power could go out at any time, Nathan. So if you just hear a big chunk and I disappear. It went out yesterday. Not here, but it went out in this town. It went out yesterday. I got PG&E, our local power company, Pacific Gas and Electric, calls you when the power's out. I think they got tired of people going, hi, is my power out? Yes, it is. Is it going to be on soon? We don't know. Are you trying to fix it? Yes, we are. And so I think now they proactively call you because I get calls. So I got a lot of calls, like more than one yesterday saying, this is Pacific Gas and Electric. Your power's out. Which it wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they got that wrong.
Oh, that's because you have all those smart UPS things in the
house. No. The power. I guess we were just lucky. But I should just say, did the power go out at all in the last couple of days here? No. I feel like we're in the ricketiest structure ever. This is the building we're in was built more than 100 years ago. That's why you can hear the rain on the roof. And I just feel like at any moment.
Or the roof's going to cave in and a big bucket of water.
That could happen too. So I just want to warn everybody. I'm preparing you. That white noise, that's rain. The giant crashing sound, that's the roof caving in. That's the power going out. Just so you know what you're hearing. Who should I talk to first?
Let's go to Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Lewis is on the line.
Hi, Lewis. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Welcome.
Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Has anyone gone up to the roof to make sure it's draining all right?
No. I probably should say. I don't want to send anybody out there.
Yeah. Well, you guys stayed dry up there.
Get your slicker on, John, and go to the roof. Burke went up to the roof? Yeah, we did. We sent somebody up to the roof. I didn't know this. Burke goes up there every time it rains? What's he doing up there? What can I do for you, Lewis? Apparently, Burke is going up there all the time. I don't know what's going on. What can I do for you?
Well, before my question, I'd like to thank the lovely executives and IT team at Anthem Health Insurance for handing my personal information to the international criminal.
What was it, 80 million records or something?
That's the estimate. And they didn't encrypt because it's harder to access the information when it's encrypted.
So now you've listened to this show long enough to know how stupid that is.
Yeah.
And so there's anybody who and by the way, they'll probably get a fine because they are required as an insurer to adhere to HIPAA rules, which require encryption. However, the fine cap's at $1.5 million a year.
Yep.
So it's like, slap me on the wrist. Ow! Ooh, that hurt. Yep. I'll never do it again. It's just, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a big mess.
And if you are an Anthem customer, well, there'll be massive lawsuits and class action suits. If you are an Anthem customer, Anthem Health Insurance customer, be prepared, because this massive data breach has, in fact, even if you're not an Anthem customer, has given phishing and phone fraudsters an opportunity to go after you. Anthem announced earlier this week that 80 million records had been lost. And as a result, bad guys are sending out fake emails from Anthem.
We got a few at work.
Did you? And these are fake.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you for credentials. They'll say, click here to get a free year of credit card protection. Now, this is exactly what you'd expect from Anthem, but it isn't, in fact, from Anthem. This is from Brian Krebs' column, Krebs on Security. It looks just like an Anthem email, and there's a button, click here to get your free year of credit card protection. Who wouldn't click that? But this is not Anthem, and when they start asking you for credentials, you're giving them to bad guys.
That's right.
In fact, security experts are saying this may have been perpetrated by state-sponsored hackers from China. Can you believe that? Wow. So, if you get something in the email from Anthem or you get a call from Anthem, hang up. Don't click the links. Go directly to Anthem's website for any information, because then you're going to them and you know it's the right spot.
Yep. Leo, I have a first-generation Mac Pro.
Yes.
9 years old. I'm getting ready to replace it. I think a new Mac Mini would probably give me all the power and function of a 9-year-old Mac Pro.
Yep.
But I have 2 extra drives in that machine. 1 terabyte for audio and 1 terabyte for photos and video.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a recommendation on external storage. Now, would a Drobo give me what I need? Would that be a reasonable alternative?
Drobos tend to be a little expensive. What Drobos have two. What they are. The chief feature of a Drobo is they allow you to use multiple drives for data redundancy. So it makes it safer if you lose a hard drive. Right. Most Drobo, they're just enclosures. They hold typically 5, sometimes more hard drives. And if one dies, you can just put in another one. You don't even have to turn the thing off. Put in another one. It'll mount it and it'll make it work. And that's something that a lot of devices do. But I only recommend it if you need massive storage. That's the real point of a Drobo, is you can get many, many, many terabytes. You only have 2 drives.
Right.
The easiest thing to do, those drives are probably, they're internal right now?
Correct. It's a 4-bay drive in the Mac.
So what you could do is buy an external enclosure and just take those drives and put it in that. Whether it's if it's a Drobo, they'll reformat, so you don't want to do that.
Right.
You want single enclosures, either USB or Thunderbolt. USB 3 would be plenty fast enough. And just get a USB 3 enclosure that's designed for that kind of hard drive. So you have to look at the hard drive. Probably it's a full-size hard drive. And put it in there, and then it's as if the drive never left. It's still there.
And it's not, I don't have to worry about setting up a RAID. It's just it recognizes it's 2 external drives.
At this point, you don't want to do a RAID because that would erase the contents of those drives.
Right.
And a Drobo, which is RAID-ish, it would do the same thing. They reformat the drive to support this data structure. So don't do that because you'll lose your data. Just enclosures are cheap, too, much cheaper than a Drobo. Just get 2 enclosures, USB, plug them into the Mac Mini, you're gone. You're good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I don't hate Drobo, but I feel like you can get more capability with something like a Synology NAS, which Father Robert's recommending, and I think they're great. Still get the kind of the 2 chief features of a Drobo are massive storage because you're combining multiple drives, and drive redundancy because it's kind of like RAID 5, but it's not. The Drobo has a nice ability to have heterogeneous drives. So normally in a RAID array, you'd have identical drives, and the size of the array would be a multiple of those drives. If you put a different size drive in a RAID array, it would that would become the default size for all the drives. On a Drobo, you can put heterogeneous drives, different sizes, different manufacturers, and it just tallies it all up. So that was the real advantage of Drobo. If you're using existing drives, don't do either, because as I said to Lewis, you'll be, in order to use those in a RAID or Drobo array, you'll have to format the data and it'll all be gone. Yeah, just put And Battlecam has another suggestion, Los, which isn't a bad one, which is copy those drives onto one larger USB or Thunderbolt drive, and then put them away as a backup. And that's also another way to go. Yeah. And you could that's another good point. Thank you. Beatmaster says you could also take the old Mac Pro and make it a network attached storage device. Get software for the Mac Pro. It's Intel. I'm sure you could find a NAS operating system, probably Linux-based, that would work on that Mac Pro. Maybe not, but I bet you could. That would then turn that into a network attached storage. But USB 3 external is cheap and would work fine. What I bought, which is crazy, is the little big disc from LaCie. And it's Thunderbolt, which is Thunderbolt 2. So I bought it for the new Mac Pro. It's for maximum speed, but you see how costly it is. And that's just for a terabyte. And what they do on this is that I think it's dual 500 gig drives in that little tiny enclosure. They're SSDs. So they're very fast and super quiet, which is nice because the new Mac Pro is super quiet. I don't actually like spinning drives anymore because they're noisier than my Mac. And you'll saturate with the SSDs. You'll saturate the bus if you don't use Thunderbolt 2. So with Thunderbolt 2, you get all of the speed, but it's scary RAID. It's RAID 0. But that's okay because I have backups and stuff. It's just I consider it it's like a single drive. You know, SSDs are pretty reliable. It's insane to buy any of this stuff. And I really could have done with a Mac Mini and a USB port, USB drive. This is just crazy. I'm with Padre on that, by the way. I like those. Very much like those Synologies. I think they're making the best consumer NASs. They also make pro NASs. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Brian in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. You're next. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Leo. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah. You're getting rain down there. We're getting a pretty good snowstorm up here.
I bet you are. Oh, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to talk to you about one of your favorite subjects, cameras.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've had a TCI for the past 2 years now, and I like it.
That's the Canon Rebel. Those are Canon really broke this market open for kind of serious amateurs by making the first affordable digital SLR cameras, the Rebels. You may remember those ads as who was it? It was John McEnroe or some tennis star running around shooting with his Rebel, and it was pretty impressive. In fact, they're very, very good cameras.
Yeah. But anyway, it's getting kind of bulky to carry around, and I'm looking at going into a mirrorless system.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of good reviews about the Alpha 6000 system. I'm just wondering if you've had any experience with that camera or anything.
I actually gave an Alpha 6000, I think it was a 6000 to my son for graduation, high school graduation, and he has been using it and loving it. So Sony has suddenly, in the last couple of years, gotten all the attention and stolen it all from Nikon and Canon. Canon, which made those Rebels, and Nikon, which is also one of the venerable camera brands. They made film SLRs, and then they made digital SLRs. And for years, I used Nikon, and then I went to Canon and used the 5D. But like you, I got tired of carrying around giant cameras and giant lenses. I mean, these are 2 or 3 pound cameras, and then they add the lens, and suddenly, you know, you're just weighed down. What's happened? There's been a revolution with something they call mirrorless cameras. Now, they still have the benefit that an SLR has, that you can take buy different lenses and change them. That means you get different qualities, better low light or better telephoto. You can get zooms. You get a variety of different looks. So that's nice. And for somebody who's serious about photography, having an interchangeable lens camera is wonderful. But by eliminating the giant clicking mirror, the prism that SLRs have to have. SLR stands for single lens reflex. It's actually the technology that you look through the viewfinder and then a mirror reflects the light coming through the lens into the viewfinder. So you're actually looking through the lens, even though it's not a straight shot. And that prism, that mirror, is complicated and bulky and weighs a lot. So eliminating that saves you a lot of space and a lot of weight. Unfortunately, you no longer have an optical view through the lens. They have to put a little video camera where the lens is to look through the lens. So when you look through the viewfinder or on the LCD, you're seeing what the lens is seeing, but you're seeing a video of it. So it's a little lower quality, but you know what? They've gotten very good. And I think Sony leads the pack. Now, I bought the Sony A7, which is the Alpha 7. It's the next generation up because those have full-frame sensors. So when you're looking at digital cameras now, there are a number of things. We often talk about megapixels, and I think people focus on that probably to their detriment. The size of the sensor is really important, much more important than megapixels. The bigger the sensor, the more light is let in, the more higher the resolution of the pixels, however many you have. Sometimes you do get more pixels as a result, but sometimes not. But a full-frame sensor, which is the size of a piece of 35mm film, roughly, is the biggest kind of affordable sensor out there. There are larger ones, medium format sensors, but you know, anybody who doesn't want to spend 10 grand, you're going to be getting a full frame or less. The Alphas, the 6000, I think, is APS-C, which is a smaller, still big. Right, it's the size of your T2i, so it's a great sensor. But you know, if you can afford it, and I think that Sony's gotten very aggressive. It's maybe $1,700 for the A7 II. What was the 6000? About $700 or $800?
I saw it at Best Buy just today for $730. I think that's what the lens do.
And that's with the lens, so that's the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great camera, and you can buy other lenses. It's just not going to be... you get a little bit more with a full frame, but you may not notice the difference because it's the same sensor you've been using.
Yeah, one of the things I'm starting to get into is astrophotography. So I want a nice good sensor, like a good big sensor.
Yeah, you think about it. It's just like if you're an astronomer, you know that the bigger the mirror in the telescope, the better the resolution of the image. It's just like that. Yeah. So for astronomy photography, of course, the bigger the sensor, the more light you're gathering, the better the low light objects you can take images of, and the resolution goes up, of course, as well. Yeah. So, but I think that Alpha 6000 is fantastic.
Yeah, and just another quick thing. I have a small selection of Sony lenses. I mean, Canon lenses.
Yeah, you're going to sell those.
I'm wondering how well the adapters work, like to go from...
I use adapters on the A7, and the advantage of the mirrorless is because the bodies are thinner, it's possible to put adapters on there and use others' lenses. And in fact, I've been using lenses with the Leica screw mount on my A7 to great effect. So you may lose some capabilities. A lot of times you have to manually focus. But Sony has does such a good job with its manual focus capabilities, at least in the A7. I don't know about the A6000, but at least in the A7 that I think Sony's knocking it out of the park. I think they are the new king of digital photography, frankly. Yeah. Even in their compact camera, the RX100, because they make the sensors that a lot of these guys use anyway. The Sony sensor in the A7 is the same sensor Nikon uses in its very popular D800. These are really good sensors, and Sony seems to know the business pretty well. The user interface on Sony's is a little maybe takes a little getting used to. It's not as maybe simple as you'll find with the Canon. I really loved my Canon camera. I'm just looking for. I just love now having a lighter body. The other one I love and we recommend all the time is this even smaller sensor, but it's a micro 4/3 format, which means there's a lot of lenses out there. And that's the Olympus OMD, which is a fantastic camera. Yeah. That has probably the best.
I've heard that they have issues in low light, though, some of the micro 4/3.
The bigger the sensor, the better you'll do in low light. And so with micro 4/3 is even smaller than APS-C. So if you take, and by the way, people think low light, oh, you mean with one candle? No, indoors is low light.
Yeah.
Anything that's not outside is low light. So if you take a lot of, as most of us do, photographs inside, and you don't want to use flash, which you really don't, unless you know what you're doing and you can get the flash off camera.
No, it causes more issues than it solves.
Yeah. I think getting a fast lens on a big sensor, I shoot the A7S, which is only 12 megapixels, but has amazing low light performance, very good at high ISOs, and I shoot it with a very fast 1.2 f1.2 lens, and I can take a picture with one candle, and it's gorgeous. I mean, the images that you can get from this thing are amazing. So I think you're right on with the A6000, Alpha 6000. I think nothing wrong with it. Go for it. You're going to love it. And I've moved to Sony. You probably will want to get rid of your Canon lenses. You get better results using Sony lenses, I think.
Okay.
And Sony is making excellent glass. Yeah, have fun. Since Chris Marquardt, I think, is on assignment again this week, so I'll be the camera guy for the week. Somebody in the chat room said, well, no pros are using the Sony A7. That's actually not true. In fact, the first person I saw who started using the Sony A7 professionally was my friend Trey Ratcliffe, who is one of the most popular photographers in the world, does amazing landscape photography. And he abandoned all of his Nikon. He was a big Nikon shooter, abandoned all of his Nikon cameras, sold them all, and went to the Sony A7. I think the image quality is spectacular. Canon did just announce a new 5DS, a 50-megapixel camera. But see, notice, while I have a Sony that has 36 megapixels, I'm shooting the 12 megapixel. 12 is plenty of megapixels. The only reason you want more dots is so you can blow it up more. And if you're going to make posters even, 12 megapixels is fine. If you're making billboards, maybe you need more megapixels. And then, of course, then the other advantage of having lots of pixels in the sensor is you can zoom in manually by just cropping the picture. And since you have more dots, cropping it, you still get very high resolution. But I'll tell you, I'm loving the A7. Loving the A7. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Tons of pros are moving to the Sony line. Actually, you're completely wrong. Many, many pros use Sony A7s, and primarily because they can use it as Trey does with glass from other manufacturers. Very popular with more and more pros. You know, and of course, if you think about it, a pro who's invested $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into Nikon or Canon glass is going to be slow to move because he has to sell it all and everything. But no, I see pros moving to Sony all the time. I think that if you liked the D800, the big issue on the A7 is limitations on lenses. But if you're willing to use an adapter, as I am, sky's the limit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. Susan is on the line in Friday Harbor, Washington. Hi, Susan.
Hello, Leo. Thank you for all you do. I've listened to you for years, and we have a lot of standing water up here.
Yeah, I bet you do. I wish we've got rain, but we still have a drought. So
yeah, yes. Listen, I have a situation where I have two homes. In one home, I have a Windows PC that I upgraded to Windows 7 last year. But in this home, I have an old Windows XP machine that I need to do something about. It's getting really clunky.
Yeah.
I do have 3 iOS devices, 2 iPads, and an iPhone 6 that I love. But I have to sit and work at a desk, and those are just too small. So I need to upgrade my Windows XP machine. I was thinking about getting a portable laptop and having the ability to connect to a 27-inch monitor. Is that possible?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And which laptop would you suggest, and can I still get a Windows 7 laptop?
You cannot get a Windows 7 laptop anymore. That was sunsetted. Okay. Microsoft sunsetted that on Halloween Day last year.
So I would have to use Windows 7 in one home and then Windows something.
You could buy a Windows 8 machine and then get a Windows 7 disk and install Windows 7. It's not that you can't. Yeah, it's not that you can't get Windows 7 anymore. They just an OEM. That's what we call people like Dell and HP and Lenovo. Those OEMs can no longer sell Windows 7 machines.
Okay.
But I feel like a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, you might try Windows 8. Have you tried it at all?
No, but
I don't blame you. I love Windows 7.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I've heard all the horrors.
Windows 8.1, which was an update
Right.
that Microsoft shipped earlier this year, or actually late last year, fixes a lot of the things that problems I had with Windows 8. Windows 8 is still not perfect. In fact, Windows 10, they're skipping 9. Windows 10, which comes out in the fall, is probably going to be the version of Windows for Windows 7 users. So you have a few choices. They are offering a free upgrade to Windows 10 this fall to everybody who uses Windows 7 and 8. So your old machine at the old other house can upgrade to 10. And I think you'll want to. I really do. You can get a machine today and put a Windows 8 machine today, install Windows 7 on top of it, and be fine. What I would do is get a Windows 8 machine and just see if you can live with it. Give it 2 weeks.
Okay.
Windows is Windows. I mean, it's not like, you probably use, what do you use, Microsoft Office?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to look exactly the same. And with Windows 8 now, with Windows 8.1, you can set it to boot right to the desktop, so it looks just like you're in Windows 7. You lose your start menu. Instead, you have this start page, but it's not that different. You can make it, instead of the big tiles, you can have it start up with all the apps listed. And I don't know about you, but with the start menu, most people who use Windows for a while realize, I just click the start button and type the first few letters of whatever it is I want to open, and it'll find it, and then I hit return.
Okay.
And once you get used to kind of doing that, then I don't even see the start screen anymore, because I just hit start, type type WORD, hit return, and Microsoft Word's running. So I think that eventually kind of overcomes some of the objections, not all, but some of the objections to Windows 8. So you want a laptop? Almost any laptop nowadays will drive a big screen.
Okay, how does that? How do I make sure that the machine will drive a big screen?
You'll see in the specs can drive a screen resolution as high as or whatever.
The one like in the specs?
It would just say, it'll tell you can drive a big screen. I just bought and really love and I recommend the new Dell XPS 13.
Okay.
It is very lightweight. It's 2.6 pounds. It is small, but they've got a 13-inch laptop screen on it, which I think is a nice size because there's no bezel, there's no edge, very little. It's a really nice window. I would say it's the best Windows 8 laptop out there right now. Okay. You can put Windows 7 on it.
Okay.
And then, buy Windows 7, put it on there, or, I mean, there's ways to get Windows 7 on it. And then, if you wish... and then you'll get Windows 10 when it comes out. And then it has a mini display port, which is the video port on the side of the laptop. And you can connect almost any monitor to that mini display port. I would just get one from Dell. Get a Dell 27. They make excellent 27s.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and if you call Dell, you say, look, this is what I want to do. And they'll say, oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You might ask Dell. People are saying Dell still has some Windows 7s. So you might ask them if you can get Windows 7 on there. My memory is that Microsoft sunsetted Windows 7 October 31st for purchase, but maybe some people still have a few left lying around. But that Dell XPS 13, highly recommended. The only negative, and somebody in the chat room saying this, because there's no bezel up top, you can't put the webcam up top, so it's in a strange locale lower on the screen. If you don't do a lot of Skyping, or no, then you don't care.
No, I can do that on my iPad.
Yeah, and frankly, I think a third-party camera anyway is better, so I just put one on top.
What about speakers?
It sounds fine, but you can get any kind of speakers you want. Powered speakers. I use Audio Engines. I really like them.
Okay.
Powered computer speakers. They have very rich sound, and if you want, you can add a subwoofer to that, and then it's as good as your stereo.
Great, great. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the best to you in this new year.
Now, I'm just one question. Thank you. You too. One question, though. You have all this Apple stuff. You never thought about getting a Mac?
Yes, I have.
I don't want to talk you into a Windows machine. You would be very happy with a MacBook Air, too.
Yes.
What's your reluctance?
I want to stay versatile.
Yes. And in business, certainly, Windows is the operating system.
Yes, and I come from a medical background, and I want to be able to still do some things in medicine. So,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I just want to make clear to everybody else listening that barring other reasons, like I'm a gamer or I want to stay current with medical software that requires Windows, a Mac is probably a better choice in the home. Windows is really kind of more for, to me, Windows is a good business machine, but not a great home machine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure the folks at Microsoft hate hearing me say that. But you know, it's interesting. I mean, they now offer, you don't have an iPad. They offer Office on the iPad. They offer, they just put out Outlook on the iPad. Microsoft has recognized that many of its users want to use iPads. So the way they describe this, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, a couple of weeks ago said, we're going to make sure that the best experience of our products is on Windows, but we also recognize that customers want to use a variety of different operating systems, and we'll make sure to be there too. It's an interesting way to put it. The best experience, what we would like you to do is buy Windows, but if you insist on buying the other guy's stuff, we'll be there too. The Dell is gorgeous. The Dell is the laptop I'm sure Apple will make whenever it gets around to upgrading its MacBook Pros, because it's MacBook Airs, I should say, because it's just light and slim and gorgeous. It's really nice. The only thing wrong with it is I have to run Windows 8 on it. Mike in Wrightwood, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Listen to you 6 hours every weekend.
Boy, that sounds exhausting. Wait a minute, that's how many hours I do. Okay, never mind.
I know. and on KFI during the week. So
bless you.
Hey, I had a Chromecast question, but it might not be a Chromecast question.
Okay.
Let me tell you the scenario.
Yeah.
Last week I got Netflix free trial for a month.
Nice.
And all I have is I don't have internet at home.
Yeah.
I have just my phone for internet.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I got a cord to put it into HDMI port on my TV.
Okay.
And I've got a really bad lip sync with Netflix.
Yeah, you're driving Netflix from your laptop to your TV?
No.
From Chromecast?
From my phone.
From your
via a cord.
Oh, I see. You got the cord to go from the phone. Yeah. That's too bad. I don't know why that would be, except that probably the phone isn't that powerful. Chromecast does something a little different, which is why Chromecast is a better way to do that. But go ahead.
Right, but everything else works fine on it.
It's just Netflix.
It's just Netflix.
Yeah.
And also, I did get Chromecast, okay? But since I don't have internet up here,
you can't use it.
It asked me for the password for the phone. My network password.
Right. Yeah, it wants Wi-Fi.
Right.
They have added some new features, and I don't know how they work, where if you had an Android phone, it can hear your phone. But yeah, you need Wi-Fi, because the only connection the Chromecast has to the internet is Wi-Fi. Hold on a second. I'll talk about why you have the lip sync issues and maybe what you can do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's going to be the top of the hour, actually, isn't it? Just love this. This turns out to be carbon fiber, somebody told me. It feels like rubberized, but it's carbon fiber. And it's so light. It's, the MacBook Air is 2.9 pounds. It's 2.6 pounds. It's just really, and look at the size of the screen without the bezel. But as a result, they got a camera down here. So that's kind of... So now we can continue talking, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, we continue on with the podcast, but the radio shows all go to their news.
Okay.
And so you won't hear this on KFI, but I'll tell you direct. The lip sync issue probably is it an Android phone that you're using?
Yes.
Yeah, so Android doesn't support Silverlight, which is what Netflix uses on everything else. Yeah. And I suspect it has to do with that. It also, the phone, remember, here's why things get out of sync. The audio tends to get ahead of video because decompressing and playing back the audio is not nearly as challenging as decompressing and playing back the video. And so they often get out of sync. The way they handle this in if it's done properly, it was something called Genlock, where you actually have a time code on audio and video, and you make sure that they continue to match. But, of course, Netflix on an Android device doesn't have that. So you do have some other ways you could do this. I mean, the best You do? Do you have internet up there or no? Not at all.
No, not a house internet.
So you're using the 3G on the phone to get the
I've got 4G
or
LTE.
4G. Yeah.
Real strong signal.
Yeah.
It plays great on my phone.
Isn't that funny? I wonder why it's not playing great. So you don't lose sync on the phone.
No.
Well, in that case, I'm very puzzled. Because the phone should output what it's getting over the HDMI, and the HDMI should keep it in sync once it's on HDMI.
Yeah, through the cord, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why you're getting out of sync.
Yeah, and and that's why I tried Chromecast to see if it would.
Yeah, that's a bummer. You know what you could get is what they called a MiFi card. They're little credit card sized devices that take the 4G signal and make it Wi-Fi.
Huh.
And then you'd have Wi-Fi in the house.
But it asks for my.
Yeah, but then you'd have Wi-Fi. The little thing, and who's your carrier? Verizon.
Okay.
Yeah, is your carrier Verizon, Sprint, AT&T?
No, it's Sprint.
Sprint. So if Sprint sells them, I don't remember what they call them, but they're little devices. They get the 4G. Now remember, you have unlimited bandwidth because you're going to use bandwidth like crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So that box then has LTE into it and Wi-Fi out of it. So it's just like a Wi-Fi access spot. So you can then join it with your computer or your Chromecast or your phone, and you're on that bandwidth.
Oh, okay. It'll change it to that network, and it'll take mine and put it onto that.
Yeah, and then you could use the Chromecast as long as the speed.
They say you can also. I'm sorry, but they say if you root your phone, you can find your password. Is that right? I know you don't like to advise that, but
no, you can root. It's easy to and safe and even approved to root an Android phone. What password are you looking for?
For my Wi-Fi.
You don't have Wi-Fi.
Well, it shows my device and everything, and it shows a spot for me.
What shows it? The Chromecast sees a Wi-Fi access point?
Yeah,
Oh, I see what you're saying. I could use. Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. You could use your phone and you could tether your phone. Yeah, in effect, turn your phone into a Wi-Fi access spot. Yes, I see what you're saying.
Using its own
Call
Wi-Fi.
Sprint. Yeah, no, if you call Sprint, you can do that. Pay for it a little extra, and they will let you.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you don't want to pay the money. See, well, that's the same thing as a MiFi.
To get around that.
Yeah, you can root it, and then I can't remember what the programs are, but there are ways. I think Sprint still finds out because I think Sprint can kind of tell whether you're doing that. I don't know why, but yeah, make your phone the hotspot. So you don't want to pay Sprint to do that.
Well,
you can root your phone.
Is there another device that I can get?
Well, then you'll pay for it though. That's the same issue. You're going to pay Sprint,
but not monthly. Can I buy a device that would?
No, you always pay monthly.
Just mirror it to
you always pay monthly.
TV?
No, you always pay monthly.
Huh.
So yeah, you want to turn on tethering on your phone. Yeah, you can do that. You run the risk that Sprint finds out and says, "Well, that's that on that."
Well, I'm up on 3 months on my contract anyway.
All right. Yeah, that's what I would. What model phone do you have?
A Samsung S3.
Yeah, it's easy to root an S3 because it's been around for a while. That may be why the lip sync's not great.
So then I would be able to find that password in there. I looked up a little bit.
It's not the issue. Is not the password. The issue is you need special software that you can't put on there unless you root it that will allow you to tether. And once you start tethering, then you will have a Wi-Fi access name, what they call an SSID, and you set the password, you set the name.
Yeah, well, I gotcha.
And then the Chromecast will join that network. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do it that way. I'm saying Sprint. That may violate your deal with Sprint.
Yeah, I've heard you over the years talk about that kind of stuff.
But you can do that. It's not hard to root an Android phone, especially an S3. Go to xda-developers.com. They have, and then you search for your exact model of phone, a Sprint Galaxy S3, and they have all the instructions. It's very easy to do.
Okay.
You'll have to do it when you're home, though, and you've got internet, because you got to download software on a Windows machine to do it.
Oh, really?
And somebody tells me that there is a program that'll do it without rooting called Easy Tether.
Okay.
Maybe you don't have to root. Go to the Play Store, play.google.com. It's called Easy Tether.
Okay.
I have to wonder, I mean, I don't think it would be hard for Sprint to detect you doing this, frankly. But, so I wonder what they're, be easy enough for them to figure this out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's just not, yeah, it's not.
Just not right.
I could think of an easy way to do it, to figure out what, yeah, easy tether, that's tablet version. Easy tether. Apparently will let you, there's a variety of, just look for tethering. There's a variety of tethering apps on the Play Store, and some apparently do not require routing.
Right, yeah. I also used to have PDA Net on my Windows machine.
Yeah, with Foxfi.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I wiped my thing clear because it was giving me problems, and now I got to put it back on if I want to use that. But would that work?
Yeah. On your phone, you mean?
No, and then put it to my laptop, and then from the laptop to the Chromecast. Because I can tether my phone to my computer
via USB.
Right.
And then use you can make an ad hoc Wi-Fi network. Your computer now becomes the Wi-Fi access point. You set the SSID and password, and then you log into it with your Chromecast. Yes.
I could do it that way. Huh?
Yes, you could.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll just get PDA Net again and go that route, because it's just a one-time fee.
This is why that's why we've got to solve this issue of internet everywhere, because nowadays not having the internet everywhere is an issue. Thank you, Mike. I got to run. The magic music is about to start. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. I love technology. I love technology. But I think I'm a realist. I understand technology can't solve every problem. Sometimes causes more problems than it solves. But that's what I'm here for. To help make technology something that's good for you in your life, that can help you at work, at home, and play, at a church, at everywhere, at worship, everything you do. Technology is in every part of our lives, and I want you to be able to not only master it, but use it without it making you crazy. Although, it makes me crazy. So maybe that's a pie in the sky. Just having technology, there's a certain pain threshold you have to suffer. Have you noticed this? That there's always something a little bit wrong, and you just put up with it. Like it's a little tiny thing. It just kind of it bugs you a little bit, but it's not bad enough that you actually go online and search for an answer or call Leo and say, how do I fix? But I encourage you to do that, because if we can get rid of all those little tiny things, maybe it would all be just nice and smooth and easy. I don't want you to get the impression that it is that way for me or any of the people I know who use technology all the time and who are experts in it. The more expert you are in technology, the further you push the boundaries, and the more likely you're going to have problems, and it's going to be annoying and frustrating. So I'm with you. We're all in the same boat, and I don't promise I can give you a perfect technology experience, but let's solve the ones that are just kind of slowly driving you crazy. Let's see if we can fix those. Julian in Orange County, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Julian.
Good morning, Leo. First, let me start with the compliment. I think the key to your success is that you come across as a really regular guy with a lot of technical information, and those of us that are technically challenged appreciate that.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
The question I have specifically is we have a 2-year-old Asus TF700T tablet 4.2 with the detachable keyboard, which we love. It's on our kitchen table. We use it every day.
Yes.
I would like to upgrade it. One of the things you said recently was that when you get this website is not responding, that's the sign of beginning signs of a hard drive failure. and we're getting that.
Yeah, website not responding could be a lot of things. Could be actually is not likely to be a hard drive. Oddly enough, there are hard drive failures happen after a couple of years. They happen about 7% of all hard drives after 2 years start to die every year. So you get more and more likely that you're going to have hard drive problems. And the problems that hard drives cause can be deceptive. They can seem like it's not the hard drive's fault. But that particular one, website not responding, usually means there's an issue with do you have a router that you connect to the internet with?
We use it on a Wi-Fi basis, and we also have a Wi-Fi sender. But we have other issues. The tablet it's beginning to be in the early stages of needing to have a hole drilled so we can use it as an anchor. And I would like to upgrade it to an Android 5.0, and I know they're at 0.2 because of some problems.
Yeah, but if you go to a 5.0 Android device, you'll have the regular updates.
Yeah, anyway, the Lollipop. And we're waiting. And I want to get a tablet with a 10-inch screen, and the only ones I've been able to find stop at 8-something. I'm not married to the Asus, but I am married to having a keyboard. And it's really, we understand that the 5.0 is coming to the big screen.
Yeah, this is the problem. The only people who have 5.0 right now are the Google devices.
Yeah. Do you have any idea when that might be coming to the 10-inch screen?
Yeah, so here's what happens. Google updates Android to the latest version. And, of course, all the Nexus devices, like the Nexus 9, will be Android 5.0. They'll be updated. But the third-party guys, like Asus, they add features to Android. They don't really run a pure Android. So they have to get the new Android version, then update all of their apps, also update all of their look and feel to work with it. And that usually takes 3 or 4 months. So we're probably fairly close to 5.0 being dominant. I would say by April or May, certainly, you'll see 5.0 on a lot of tablets.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations for anything that might be better than the Asus 700 we have?
Those transformers are great, but Lenovo also makes some transformers. There are a lot of. So you like the fact that the tablet can detach from the keyboard? Is that an important part to you?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a kind of transformer. Asus calls them a transformer, but that's become, because of Asus, a category now. And a lot of, I think Lenovo makes one. I'll tell you, anything you buy today will almost certainly be updated to 5.0 when it comes out. So so I would look at, and people have really been raving about this, the Mix, M-I-I-X. It's from Lenovo. It's a 10-inch. You said you wanted 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
10 to 12.
Yeah. It runs Android 4. I'm sure it runs Android KitKat 4.4 like your Asus, but oh, actually, wait a minute. This is a Windows 8 tablet. Never mind. I forgot they made this one on Windows 8. Oh, that's bad. You don't want that. Or do you?
No. I decided that I have a choice between mirroring my tablet, I should say, to the desktop, which has Windows 7 on it, or to my phone, which has the Android, and I decided I'd rather go with the phone, and that's why I want to stay with Android.
Yep. Good. No, I think Android's a great operating system, very reliable and robust.
We're very happy. Just all of a sudden, this thing's beginning to show its age because we use it so much every day.
I wonder if there's a Android Yoga, because that's the Lenovo convertible brand. I'm pretty sure there is. The Yoga 2. Let me see. I'm searching now through here to find an Android one for you. No, that's Windows also. Yeah, Windows is Windows has become. Let me see. Android, Lenovo convertible Android. Anybody in the chat room have a suggestion? 10-inch. Well, maybe they do. That's Windows. The A10. I guess that's maybe it. Nope, that's gone. I'm pretty sure Lenovo makes a convertible. There are some very nice ones. Is it the Yoga 2? Yoga Tablet 2? All right. They did that kind of in response to the Transformer. And I think they make excellent stuff. Believe it or not, you could still get a 10-inch Nexus 10. The Nexus 9 came out, which is a little bit smaller, but I think they still sell the 10, which many people thought was the greatest Android tablet of all time, but it doesn't have a keyboard. You'd have to add a third-party Bluetooth keyboard for that.
Yeah,
I would look at a Yoga from Lenovo.
All right, I will do that.
Yeah, I think that those, many of us agree, I think, are a little bit better than the Asus's.
Okay, I'm open to that as an alternative. And I have a quick, different question if you have time.
Yeah.
I'm interested in an app that will allow me to put text on pictures on an SD card, and if you have an opinion about a good app to do that.
Sure. Android?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, Windows.
Yeah, there's a ton of them on the Android and even on iOS that allow you to caption pictures. And as soon as you caption them, you can save them to anywhere.
No, not captioning on the picture itself.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm sorry. Caption. Put text on a picture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But for Windows...
Let me tell you what the application is. We take a lot of pictures when we travel, and we can never remember where they are after a few years.
I like it.
So we want to put down the name of the place and maybe the date.
Yeah.
Now, I have a 3 or 4 year old, actually a 5-year-old.
Hang on just a second. I got to take a break. I'll come back. Actually, take your answer on the air because I'm going to come back with a really good program for Windows when we return. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Chris, did you have something for me?
Now, are you ready to order lunch? I was going to wait another half an hour.
Yeah, I mean, he can bring me a salad of some kind. I like the Food Bar salads. Yeah, how about a bistro from Food Bar?
I will have him go get that.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So, Chris.
Picasso will do that. Irfan View will do that, won't they? Won't it? How about paint.net or something like that? What's a really good... Picasso's free. Paint.net is free. Yeah, it didn't just come out. Paint.net's been around for a long time. It's really amazing. Not the GIMP. We're not going to make them use the GIMP. This has been out for some time. I mean, this is maybe a little more elaborate. This is like Paint Shop Pro, but free. The GIMP is too hard to use. Photoshop's too hard to use. Really, they made Photoshop CS2 free? Is that true? That's cool. I guess I dimly remember that. That is hysterical. That is so funny. Well, we'll mention Picasso, but most of these, what I really love is something like Over, which is an Android app that just takes the picture and lets you put a caption on it. Something really simple. Yeah, I've got Get Painted, and I just mentioned that. And then yeah, Pick Font. Let's look at that. Yeah, there you go. That's iOS. Need something for Windows. Oh, wait a minute. That's not iOS. Oh, it's a website. That's too slow. Problem with Paint is it's going to downgrade, isn't it? This maybe Paint doesn't just turn everything to a bitmap anymore. It's been a while. Bridge is good. I think Picasa. Let's do Picasa because he can do things like put it on a map, which is really cool. That shows how long it's been since I used Microsoft Paint. 8888 asked Leo. We were talking before the break with Julian. Has an interesting question. He wants to take his pictures from his trips and put on the picture text. Here we are in Spain. And there are a lot of programs on mobile, on iOS and Android that'll do that because that's something people often do with their camera phones, especially before they post the picture on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere. But to do it on Windows, it'd be nice to have just something very simple. But I think you're going to need to get something a little more powerful. Here's what I'm going to recommend, is Picasa. It's a free program. Google bought them some time ago, made it free. Picasa.google.com, Picasa. And Picasa has a lot of nice features. It lets you do more than just that. It will let you put text on a picture, but it also has geotagging, so you can make a map of the world and have all of your pictures in different spots, which I think would be kind of cool. It lets you organize your photos, tag faces in the photos, find other faces in other photos, fix photos, transform them, remove red eye, stuff like that. And because it's free, it just seems to me that's the thing. People should be, everybody who uses Windows should have a copy of Picasa. It's just fantastic. There are other choices, and we'll put a lot of them in the chat room, in the website, techguylabs.com. People mentioned programs like paint.net, getpaint.net, which is a free, and like Picasa, free, but very great kind of replacement for Microsoft's own Paint program. Does some really nice things and would make it very easy to put captions on there. But I like Picasa. I think you should take a look at Picasa. I think it's really, anybody who's doing a lot of photography and doesn't want to spend or take the time to learn higher-end programs like Photoshop or Lightroom, Picasa is the right choice. So give that one a try. And as far as a Lollipop on a 10-inch tablet, I think any modern tablet, any tablet you buy today, like a Yoga or an Asus Transformer, while they'll be KitKat today, will probably be Lollipop tomorrow. They will be updating, almost certainly. Bruce on the line next from Irvine, California. Hi, Bruce. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo, long time no talk to. If you remember some months ago, I was a pilot. Well, I still am a pilot, but I was a pilot that was flying in Alaska, 15 days on, 15 days off.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
Cameras, yeah. And I ended up getting what you recommended, the RX, was the RX 100.
100. You like it?
I do, but here's the problem I'm having. I'm taking pictures through, plexiglass.
Right.
And it just seems to want to focus on the plexiglass, especially if there's a spot of oil or a scratch or something.
Yeah.
And but my iPad doesn't. I mean, the iPad takes better pictures in that aspect.
Is that
if it's outside of the airplane, you can't argue with it. But inside the airplane, it seems to want to constantly focus on the nearest object instead of the most distant object. And I'm trying to find a way to even turn this thing on infinity, so we'll just get the focus out there outside the airplane. Because I just got back from a trip. I've been flying in Alaska, and I got offered a job to fly an airplane from Alaska all the way to Lima, Peru.
Whoa!
Yes, and I just got back. It took me a month to get the thing down there. And I took lots and lots of pictures. But
that's a long. How long does it take you to get there? You're talking a small plane, right? Not a jet.
I'm talking about a small plane. Someone wanted me to deliver one down to Lima. In fact, I'm going to be delivering 2 more for them. They asked me to do 2 more, and I said, sure, why not?
Wow.
I'm now the South American pilot expert.
That's awesome.
Nobody's really done it. So I'm just trying to figure out, I'm going through my pictures, and I'm going, gosh, I just wish this camera would take better pictures.
So there is, one of the reasons you get the Sony RX 100 is because it's a high-end compact camera that has additional features like manual focus. Most compact cameras are not going to give you manual focus, but that's what you want. And you can, in fact, if you set it to program mode and then go into the menus and you turn on DMF, manual focus, then turn the ring to infinity and you're done. Because anything outside your plane window is far enough away that infinity is the focus.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So
I've gone from snowstorms to thunderstorms, and it's
there is a you've probably noticed there's a rotating control ring on the lens there. That's the focus. That's the focus, but you have to turn on manual focus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So once you do that, set it and forget it. You'll never. And the nice thing is you'll always be in focus.
Yeah. Like I said, 90+% of the pictures I take are from outside the cockpit.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, if it wasn't for, I'm trying to get it to focus on something, it just keeps going onto the plexiglass.
Yeah, always a challenge. The truth is, the iPad probably does a better job because it's a worse camera.
Yes.
So because you have such a good camera with a 1-inch sensor and all of that, and an aperture that is probably not f8. I don't know what the aperture is on the iPad, but as you know, the narrower the aperture, the smaller the hole, the more stuff's in focus. And so that's the other way to do it, is to manually set it to a very high aperture, and then everything will be in focus. But there's a manual focus on that. That's what I would do. To put on manual focus.
Well, the good news is I get to do this again. So that's why I wanted to call you and see what options I had.
Fly to Peru from Alaska. You have to stop for fuel, don't you?
Oh, eventually. Not every 4 hours. But the other problem I'm running into is my phone doesn't work down there.
Right.
And I have a Verizon phone. And
Verizon won't work down there. Yeah, you need a GSM phone.
I'm always changing phones. I mean, I'm always changing countries. I'm going for, from Mexico.
Well, let me ask you this. What kind of Verizon phone do you have? See, Verizon and Sprint use a technology that is unique mostly to North America and the U.S., which is CDMA. AT&T and T-Mobile use GSM, which is kind of the standard worldwide. But Verizon does offer world phones. And if you get a newer Verizon phone that uses a SIM chip for LTE, you can usually use those around the world. There's a lot of caveats in this. For instance, where you're going, say Peru, has to have its LTE frequencies have to be compatible with the phone. What kind of phone do you have?
I have the 4S, iPhone 4S.
Yeah, the iPhone, for instance, the iPhone 6, you'd have no problem.
Yeah, the thing is I'm just going from country to country. And I'm going through so many countries; it's all different. I just thought
a newer iPhone would be more compatible,
right?
Because now, in the 4S era, Apple didn't sell it globally, but in the 6 era, that one phone works everywhere because they put all the radios in there, and the modern phones from Verizon use LTE SIMs, and you can put a SIM from any carrier. So one thing you could do is put so you need to have the right frequencies, but you also have to have a carrier that works there. You could put a T-Mobile SIM just for the trip in there, and it'd probably work no matter where you go. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by a really interesting and a great company called Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace. It looks like you're getting a loan. It looks, and you can borrow as much as $35,000 and have it in as little as 5 days. The interest rates are low fixed rates. I mean, it's a great system. But but under the hood, it's a little different because what they're doing, it's a marketplace for people who have money to lend, and they're bringing them together with people who want to borrow. And they handle all the details for you. It works so well. Don't rack up more debt on the credit cards when you can pay it off with a low fixed rate loan from Prosper, or fix up your house, or put it into your business. Or there's a huge number of things you can do with just about anything with Prosper.com. There really aren't a lot of good ways to get money quick. You could go to family or friends, but trust me, that's always a bad idea. You can go to a credit card company. You'll be paying I mean, the APR on credit cards is astronomical. And, of course, you could put on a necktie and or a suit and go to the bank and say, please, sir, can I have some money? Prosper is so much better. Low fixed rate loans from Prosper.com. You can get your rate right now if you go to Prosper, prosper.com/twit. It's a simple form. You fill it out. It won't affect your credit score. And you can find out exactly how much it would cost and how much you can get. As much as $35,000 in as few as 5 days. I love this. At the very least, you should look at your credit card interest rates and see if really this is this. You could never dig out when the interest rate is 18, 19, 20%. It's crazy. Prosper.com/twit. Find out what your rate will be. It's based on your credit, and I think they're a great company. Prosper.com/twit. Oh, by the way, kind of nice. You get a $50 prepaid Visa card when you get a loan. So that's pretty sweet. $50 Visa prepaid card when you go to Prosper.com/twit and get that loan. Up to $35,000 in just 5 days and a $50 Visa prepaid card. Pretty good. Prosper.com/twit. We thank them for their support. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. Max is in Milpitas. You're next, Max.
Oh, hello, Leo.
Hello, Max.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
You and Lisa, the best this life has to offer, and even more.
Aren't you kind, Max? Thank you. We're very happy.
So, Leo, I know you've mastered the art of connecting dots.
Give me some dots. I'll do my best.
So, Leo, I have this problem with my laptop that essentially freezes. And I've narrowed down to believe the Chrome browser is the culprit.
Okay. What's happening?
So I'm going to give you a couple of dots. First of all, I've been getting this strange message that says application error. The instruction at blah, 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 reference memory at the same blah, 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 the memory could not be written.
You know, I'll never understand why they give you these error messages.
Yes.
They're completely, not only they're meaningless to you, there's nothing you could do about them, and they're probably even meaningless to the programmer. I mean, an error message is of value at best to the programmer. And since he's not he's not hanging over your shoulder, I don't know why they tell you that. So it says it can't write to that area of memory. Okay, that might be a clue. What else is happening?
Then underneath that box, there's another box.
Yeah.
Comes up and says Google Chrome. Wow, Google Chrome has crashed. Relaunch now. So that's another box.
Have you tried uninstalling and reinstalling Chrome?
I have not yet, but I think after talking to you, probably have to do this. So let me give you
there could be other things. Somebody's pointing out that there is a feature in Windows, and I don't suppose you've turned it on, but address space randomization. You haven't turned that on, or
no.
Okay,
no,
so Windows has some clever ways to protect your system against bad guys. You know, the way most viruses work, most malware exploits work, is they find, if they can't get you to just install them, which of course is the easiest route, is just trick people into installing it. If they can't get you to do that, then they can maybe get the operating system to execute a program for them. And the way they do it, and this is why you'll hear a lot about buffer overflow or buffer overrun errors. The way they do that is they get a program to basically crash and jump to a part of memory that they've stored ahead of time their code in and start running it. And it turns out to be surprisingly easy to do this. A lot of programs will crash in just the right way and allow you to run your program. Bad guys have figured that out. That's how come sometimes a PDF, for instance, or a Word document can infect the computer, because not because PDFs or Word documents are dangerous inherently, but if there's a flaw in Adobe Reader, as there has been in the past, or in Microsoft Word, as there has been in the past, then a carefully crafted document can cause the program to crash and jump to an area of memory where the hacker has stored his malware. Wow. Very sophisticated. So address space randomization prevents that. But here's the problem. Unfortunately, a lot of programs use these data areas themselves for program storage. It's not, they shouldn't. It's not good, but they do it. And that means that ASLR and DEP and these other protective technologies will actually cause these programs to fail. The error message you're getting, I think, is saying that Google is trying to write a protected area of memory, and that's why I was wondering if you had turned on address space randomization, but I guess not, huh?
No. So the second, no, I have not.
So give me another data point.
The dot, Leo, is this. I get this message, Microsoft Visual C++ runtime library. It says this application has requested the runtime to terminate it in an unusual way. Please contact the application support team.
Yeah, this is something crashing. Now, it could be that Chrome itself is just damaged, and reinstalling Chrome will fix it. It could also be that there's something in your cache or an extension you've installed that is causing the crash. So the first thing to do with Chrome and any browser that starts crashing is to clear the history. So you'll see in Chrome there's a clear browsing data entry. Do that. It may be there's something in the browsing data that's causing it to crash. I would also look at your Chrome extensions and see if all of them are ones you needed and wanted. And if they're not, then I would turn them off. You might even turn some off anyway. You can disable any extension temporarily in Chrome. But if none of that fixes, reinstalling Chrome.
Yeah, so I've already looked at the extension. Only 3 of them have been using for a long time, so I don't think that's the issue. Now,
and no other browser causes a problem?
No, I don't use any other browser because I don't use the Explorer at all. So
no, I like Chrome. I like Chrome. I use it exclusively too. Yeah.
Now, the last thought, Leo, is this. I get this pop-up from this place called Mala. It's MALAH.net. It pops up randomly. I believe it was added to the browser, and I think I know why.
Yeah. So
I cannot get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I tried. I looked at the list of the programs.
This could be the source, by the way. Okay. So it's not in the extensions, but it is possible to add extensions to a browser that don't show up as a Chrome extension.
Okay.
So I think this Mala is probably what's crashing. Did you install it?
No, sir. What happened? Yeah, I did not install the Mala. But what happened was, I got a little bad luck. Over-the-air software update for my Note 4 caused the Note 4 to start acting strangely. Then I was trying to figure out how to back up and do the factory reset, right? And that time, the Verizon cloud that I normally use to back up wasn't accessible from the Note 4 because of that problem with over-the-air software update. So I found this program called Mobile to Go that gives you the ability to essentially to back up your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that site, the one where that download, caused this problem because the ESET security suite that I have actually detected the problem. And since this site is trying to access, so I removed the program completely. But ever since, I've only that site installed this pop-up.
One more. So you did this on your Windows machine. You didn't do this on your Android device.
No, on the Windows machine.
Yeah. So one more thing, and before you reinstall Chrome, eventually you may end up reinstalling Chrome. One more thing is in the advanced. So go to Settings on Chrome, and then click the Show Advanced Settings. At the very bottom, there's a button that says Reset Settings. That's kind of the last resort. You cleared the browsing data. You've changed all the, you've disabled extensions, still crashing. Reset all settings will get rid of everything. It'll bring it back to default. If that doesn't fix it, then uninstall and reinstall Chrome. This is just it's a program crash. The Mala.net is a translator. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's malware or anything, but it could be crashing. It's not unusual for things to crash. These things happen. So I hope something there. I hope I connected the dots for you, Max. At least I give you a direction to go in as you solve this maze. Robert in San Diego, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Leo. Hey, I just got a 65-inch Samsung Curve TV, and I wanted to hook up a computer to it, but I didn't want to spend a bunch of money as I have a laptop. So if I end up with something that's at least got one HDMI port, a USB port for a wireless keyboard,
yep.
What size computer do I need? Is an Intel? I've seen some ones around $400 or $500.
You don't even. You can get what Intel calls a NUC, NUC, the new unit of computing. These are tiny, very inexpensive. Have HDMI. They'd be perfect for what you want to do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. A NUC, NUC. So yeah, the cheaper the better. Frankly, I don't know what you want to do with that computer hooked up to your TV. But these NUCs are great. In fact, Jeff Needles in our office loves them. He keeps buying them, and they're not low powered. This NUC has an i5 in it. It's the size of an Apple TV. They're tiny. They're really designed to do exactly what you just described. They have USB ports and HDMI ports, so they can connect right up to the TV. They're small enough you could actually glue it to the back of the TV. They don't have fans because they're passive cooling, so they're quiet. They're perfect for a home theater installation. And yes, there's more than enough power for that. Storage might be an issue, but you can always get an external hard drive, as you can see. And with an i5 processor, you can do 4K video. So if what you're looking to do is, I presume, hook your computer up to the TV so that you can. Well, I don't know what you want to do. I wouldn't recommend a TV as a monitor for a computer for general purpose use. But if what you're interested in is putting computing stuff on your TV, this is a great. These NUCs are amazing, and they're cheap. Actually, they're less cheap than I thought. Walmart has one for $279. But it really depends on. Oh, they have Broadwell in them. Wow, you probably don't need Broadwell in a NUC. And you're going to see even smaller still. I mean, Intel showed at CES a computer in basically a stick the size of a USB key with an HDMI port. That would use a Bluetooth keyboard. I haven't seen those out yet, but Raspberry Pi 2, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Have you used the internet browser on the Samsung Smart TV? Have you? I wish I could lobotomize my Samsung Smart TV. I just want it to be a monitor. I wish there were some lead I could clip that would just lobotomize the thing. Right now I went back to the Cyanogen mod 1+1. But now I'm back for temporarily on the Nexus 6. It's kind of big. And I get such good battery life on the 1+1. I'm going back and forth, but I realize I'm going to, when the Apple Watch comes out, I'm going to have to use an iPhone. So now I'm kind of thinking, I guess I better start carrying my iPhone 6 around. I'm sure I can survive. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. I must enunciate because I am a professional announcer. The website techguylabs.com. You know the hardest word to enunciate is internet. I always end up wanting to say internet. Welcome to the internet. It's internet. But if you say internet, people think you're kind of like prissy. It is the internet. It's a little over precise. How do you say it?
Internet.
Internet. Welcome to the internet.
It reminds me of Santorini. That's a very easy to go. Santorini.
Santorini. Or Baltimore. Balmer.
You know what, though? Thank God in broadcasting we no longer have to say www in front of everything.
You know, when I worked in radio back east, all the radio stations back east begin with a W. That is a word, a letter. W. 3-syllable letter. W, it's as long as the rest of the station call letters put together.
Exactly.
So you're right, and then we don't have to. It's www dot. Oh,
that's why we shortened that one president's name to W.
Dub or W.
Yeah.
www. www is not that much easier to say. W. Who at the FCC thought that was a good idea? K, that's easy.
Nice. And
K, that's the west of the Mississippi's K, except for Pittsburgh, KDKA. One of the few stations east of the Mississippi. Boy, that's weird trivia. I don't know where that came from. Bob in Orange, California. Hi, Bob. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi.
Hey.
Been waiting a while.
Thank you for your patience. It's only because I'm messing around talking about W's and K's and things. I'm so sorry. Did not mean to keep you. Thank you for your patience.
It was very enlightening.
Well, I don't think so, but all right.
Okay, iPhone 5S, Verizon is the carrier.
Yeah.
We're going to be traveling in a couple of weeks to Barcelona, Germany, and Marrakesh.
Marrakesh, wow.
Yeah, interesting.
Fun.
It's kind of a long story. We're going to be traveling with some German relatives, my wife, and they highly recommend it. So
I think Barcelona is one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
We're going to enjoy that, certainly.
And that's a great start, but man, Marrakesh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, what can I do to make your travels easier?
Well, what I'm hoping to do, and I kind of have a plan for using the cell phone. First of all, turn cellular data off.
Yes. What you'll find as you travel is that you've got Wi-Fi almost everywhere now. You certainly will have it at the hotel. Unless you're staying in really tiny pensions or something, you're going to have Wi-Fi in the hotel. And use that, because that's you paid for it or it's free, and that's, doesn't count against bandwidth. The problem is international data roaming is very, very pricey. It could be thousands of dollars a megabyte. I mean, it could be out of control. I know people in the early days of the iPhone who travel with an iPhone, and because in the early days of smartphones, we forgot that a smartphone is always sucking data. That's checking the mail, checking your Twitter, getting your Facebook movies. We forget that, and so in the background, it's always sucking data. And you get home, and you have I knew people who had $20,000 data bills when they got home.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So it's absolutely prudent to if you simply turn data roaming off, you're done. Now, what that means, though, is when you're out in the street, you don't have any data. You can't look at maps. You can't tweet.
No.
You can't use messages.
My solution, and that's a big part of the question. I've looked at the App Store, and I find several offline navigation apps.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if perhaps you have one I found was Pocket Earth. Another one is called Ulmon, ULMON Pro City Maps. Both of them are small.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with those. Nokia's released the Here Maps, I think, for Android and Windows Phone. I don't know if they've done it for iOS yet. Those are amazing, and they're free, and you download maps from anywhere in the world for free. There are paid programs, of course, from all the major GPS companies. They can be expensive. I've used for a long time a really great GPS program on iOS. They make a number of different ones. I use GPS Drive, but you're not. Are you looking for turn-by-turn directions or?
Not necessarily that, but what would really be handy, and I'm thinking specifically about Marrakesh, looking at the map so far.
Walking around.
This is going to be a really easy city to get lost in.
Yeah, walking. No, and that is frankly, even Paris, it's the #1 reason to have international data is because it's so easy to get lost in a city. In fact, that's one of the pleasures of, Venice, you can get lost in a heartbeat, but that's the fun part. But then how do I get back? And so having a GPS and a map app that you can just say, well, here's the turn-by-turn walking, and you walk to your hotel is awesome. Motion X.
Even if you can just find where you are on the map.
I agree. Or points of interest. That's nice. Motion X. I'm going to give you a couple of things here. So do download the Motion X GPS apps. They're inexpensive. You can offline maps. They're very nicely done. Motion X. But there are many of these. And if points of interest are important to you, they may not be the best choice. They're really more for here's where you are on a map. You can use Google Maps offline. It's a little weird, but if you're in the hotel and you know you're going to wander around through the souks of Marrakesh, you can, in the hotel, you can, in Google Maps, select an area and then say download this data, and you'll have it. So even Google Maps and all of their points of interest and everything will do that as well. It's a little hard to find, but you can do it. You may even want some international data, and that's the other thing. Who's your carrier?
Verizon.
Ugh. And which iPhone do you have?
It's the 5S.
5S, okay. Verizon does not have the best international data plans. I think you buy it, I want to say 150 megabytes at a time, something like that. Some crazy small number. Maybe it's 250 megs at a time for $100. I feel like those... what I would do before you leave is buy a small amount of international data. Because then you're standing in the middle of who knows where in Marrakesh. You turn on data roaming. You get a signal. You figure out where you are and where you're going, and then you turn it off. In other words, have some international data that you can use. Don't do the roaming because it's always too expensive. But you can buy, I can't remember what it is. I think it's 250 megabytes at a time from Verizon. It's not cheap. It's cheaper than roaming, but it's nice to have a little bit. I would have a little bit.
Just as an FYI, last time we went to Europe a couple of years ago, I did that. Bought a package, a little monthly package, and it stayed on my bill for months.
I know. You got to remember to turn it off.
Yep, exactly. You have to call.
They bill you monthly. I know. I've done that many a time. So offline maps is great, but still you may want to figure out where a restaurant is. I mean, there's times when data is nice to have. If you use, by the way, get Google Translate, because Google Translate but you need data for this. Again, but will allow you to talk to people in different languages as if you're having a conversation with them. It speaks it out loud. It's amazing.
Yes, I do have that, and unfortunately,
it uses data.
I'm not going to want to pay for the data.
I don't know Marrakesh, but I would guess that there's internet cafes everywhere. There's going to be internet access at the hotel and at internet cafes in a surprisingly large number of areas.
Apparently, there's an entire park in the heart of town that's all Wi-Fi. That has
perfect
Wi-Fi, municipal Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So if we need to make phone calls, my wife has an app called Nobletown.com.
Okay.
And it's ridiculously cheap. I mean, it's like 9 cents a minute.
But it uses data.
You need a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, it uses data. So absolutely, I've used Skype all over the world in the hotel. And it's great because you can call home, they see pictures, you see them, and it's using data, so it doesn't cost you.
Okay, now if we're walking in the streets of Marrakesh and my wife gets run over by a camel, right, and I need to make an emergency phone call, it's obviously going to be expensive. But can I make the phone call?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you'll need and before you leave, study up on country codes because you'll need to know the country code and all of that. Your phone in Marrakesh has your United States number on it. Occasionally, and you should check with Verizon, occasionally you have to tell them ahead of time that you want to use it internationally. So I would check with Verizon. I think you're going to... The other thing to look at, and there's a website that's great, prepaidwithdata.wikia.com. You might want to buy some local data. Sometimes that's a good way to go, too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll put this in the show notes. prepaidwithdata.wikia.com. And it's a wiki that people have contributed to for every country. Let's see if they have Morocco. Marrakesh is in Morocco, right? Do you know you're riding on the Marrakesh Express? You're taking me to Marrakesh. All aboard. Morocco has 3 network operators. Maroc, Medetel, and Inhui. And you know what's great about this site is they will even tell you what frequencies the 3G and 4G and 2G's on. They'll tell you what the costs are, who offers data. So there's a lot of, this is a great website. It's called, and we'll put this in the show notes as well, prepaidwithdata.wikia. Wikia is a wiki platform. hipchat.com. Do you know you're riding on the Marrakesh? Do you know about HipChat? Oh, I love HipChat. Got to tell you about HipChat. We use HipChat to communicate with our developers on our new website. We use it now internally. We have become HipChat fanatics. Go to hipchat.com/techguy and you can learn all about it. When you first look at it, you might say, oh, yeah, it's instant messenger. Well, it is and it isn't. The problem, of course, is if you're working in a team of any kind, our sales team uses it. Communication is very important, but email is kind of slow. And then meetings, you can easily get sidetracked, wasted a lot of time in meetings. Instant Messenger, you could use it, but it doesn't have all the features of HipChat. HipChat is not just instant messaging. It also integrates with developer tools like GitHub and Jira and Zendesk. In fact, 57 different services that HipChat plays nice with. It's so cool when we for instance, when we post a link into our HipChat as we're chatting, Linky automatically pulls up the page and embeds it in the HipChat. We use Confluence. So many cool tools that work with HipChat. It's fun to set up, easy to use, and it makes your team wildly productive. You get IM, you get video chat, document sharing, screen sharing, system updates, code sharing, all integrated into a simple, easy-to-use platform that runs everywhere. You can run HipChat in the browser, which we do, but there's also apps for most platforms, including Linux, Windows, Mac, Android. Not Windows Phone, iOS, not Windows Phone, but if you open the browser and you go to the hipchat.com, it works beautifully, just as if you're in an app. Heroku, Zendesk, MailChimp, they all work with HipChat. So get your team on the same page with the freemium version, which is free forever, but we're going to set it up so you can get a 30-day trial of HipChat, the full everything, all the bonus features like video and screen sharing. It's free. You don't need a credit card. Just go to hipchat.com/techguy. Sign up, but click on the Start Chatting, invite a few team members, and try it free for a month. By the way, fully encrypted, 256-bit SSL for everything. You can give guest access, and they don't see everything, just what you want them to see. I mean, I can go on and on, but the best way is to just try it. hipchat.com/techguy. And for a limited time, everybody who hears this ad, the first 100 people who respond, we're going to give you 90 days, 3 months free for the first 100 people who respond. hipchat.com/techguy. It's really a great service. I'm a big fan. Big fan. What's that? Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and traveling to Morocco and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada, outside those two nations. You may, of course, use Skype to reach us. Our website, and you really should remember this. You don't need to remember anything else I talk about on the show, just this, is techguylabs.com. Tech Guy, that's me. Labs, that's where I have my beakers and my bubbling things, and that's the website, techguylabs.com. And there we put the show notes. So I have everything I talk about, every link, it's there. And even after the show, audio and video from the show, so you can watch and listen. techguylabs.com. Back to the phones we go. Tamar on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Tamar.
Hi, Leo. Leo, for the past 10 or 15 years, my AT&T service providers, my service provider was AT&T.net. And I saw these commercials over the weekend in the Super Bowl game for another company that's offering a faster internet service and less money, and thinking about changing over to them. Can I do that and still save that domain name on my email address? Is there a way to scroll
What's your
it around?
domain name on is email address AT&T.com or AT&T Services or?
Yeah, my email is something at AT&T.net.
Yeah, no, you can't save that. without an account at AT&T. That's right. Yeah. So they own that, and that's one of the ways companies keep you from changing is, well, you're going to lose your email address.
Would they even know that I switched over?
They'd know when you stop paying them.
Oh, okay. and then
when they here's what happens: they stop getting a check from you, and then they turn off your email.
Oh, okay. So
it's part of your internet service is the email, and as soon as you change internet service to another company, you'll have email, but it'll be through that company. The old AT&T.net email will stop working at some point. Yeah, you might talk to AT&T. Sometimes companies will let you keep the email going. You say, I'm not going to use you as an internet service provider, but can I keep that email address? And then you'll be, you pay a few bucks a month or something. So I don't know if AT&T will do that, but that's possible.
Okay, and then I always hear horror stories about the Chromecast service. Is this new company? Well, it's not new. It's a TV company where they're suddenly coming up with an email service provider.
So Comcast is both a cable company and an internet service provider.
But the one that was advertised on Super Bowl was, I don't know if you want me to say the name.
Sure, I don't care. Say the name.
The Time Warner cable is coming up with 100 megabytes per minute.
But you have to be in a Time Warner cable area.
Oh, I know. I am.
You are. Okay.
They're sending me come on advertising.
Well, I don't know.
Mail.
Who's your cable TV provider?
I've got DirecTV, and I love it.
Ah, okay. So
I really don't want to change my TV.
You don't have to. You don't have to. But you have to have a Time Warner cable. Do you have cable in the house? I know you don't use it. You use the satellite, but do you have a cable in the house?
Yeah, eventually, a long time ago I did.
Yeah, all right, yeah. So you have the hole in the wall where the cable came out. That's where your internet will come out, and that's fine. They'll charge you a little extra if you don't get TV.
Right.
If you get the bundle together, then they take some of the some of the cost off the internet. But it's $10. It's not it's not a big deal.
Okay, so. Are they?
I'll
do
tell
they
you
have
that
a bad reputation like Comcast?
All cable companies, all telcos are terrible because they all are essentially monopolies. So customer service, price, all of that stuff, it's like a monopoly. Remember, you remember Lily Tomlin's deal on Laughing?
Yeah.
Ernestine, we're the phone company. We don't care. We don't have to because they're a monopoly. So. You're already dealing with a monopoly. You're already dealing with AT&T. It won't be worse than AT&T.
Oh, okay.
I am a Comcast customer. And by the way, Comcast is trying to merge with Time Warner. So I don't think that's going to go through at this point. I think the chances are slight. But if it does go through, you will be a Comcast customer too at some point. But, however, if you don't call them, it's fine. Cable internet is usually faster than internet that comes in on the phone line, and that's what you've got right now.
Right.
So generally, it's faster to go cable internet.
Even though I have Uverse,
but Uverse is still coming in over the copper that they put in there for the phone 100 years ago, and it can't carry as much data as the fat cable. Now, if you got AT2 Uverse fiber into your house, which I doubt you do.
I do. I think you do?
Oh, well, there's nothing.
Yeah, I'm in LA, and I think.
Yeah, if they've got fiber going in there.
But it's only the fastest I can get with AT&T is 45 Mbps. So they're offering 100 on the Time Warner commercial.
Yeah, I also have to point out that the phrase they usually use is up to 100. Up to 40. In other words, it could be 100 or less would still be up to 100. So, but generally, cable can go faster. And Time Warner and Comcast, under pressure from other companies, including Google, have been upping the cable speeds, which is nice. Now, is 100 better than 45 megabits? You might be surprised because you're already faster than almost any website you're visiting. At 45. Yeah, so what is going to be faster? Well, Netflix isn't going to need 45 is more than enough for Netflix. It's more than enough for most streaming media. It's really useful is if you have many people in the house using it. You're sharing it with others in the house. That'll be nice.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
It's just you?
What about the neighborhood? You know, that you say...
Well, okay, that's another thing, and there's a difference between the way cable is implemented and fiber is implemented, and copper is implemented. But that can vary also by the company and how much, so I mean, in general, the way cable works is they put a certain amount of bandwidth in your neighborhood and you all share it. In general, the way a phone company works is the bandwidth is shared from the phone company's central office upstream a little higher. So you've probably seen ads which say there's bandwidth congestion problems on cable. But that depends on the cable company. If the cable company put plenty of bandwidth in your neighborhood, then there aren't. So it's really not fair to say that. It just depends on how well it's done. Time Warner's fine. Okay. But Uverse, if it's fiber, is fine. I don't know if is 100 megabits more expensive than 45 megabits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, no. The 40. If I move up to 45, I think I'm at 18 megabits.
Oh yeah.
And AT&T offers 45.
Here's what I would
more money than the Time Warner.
Okay, the 45 is more expensive from AT&T.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to say one is going to definitely be better. You could ask your neighbors, you see if anybody is using Time Warner in your neighborhood, and see what their experience is. It's really very local. Time Warner where I am may be better or worse than Time Warner where you are. Even this is the same company. It's how it's run as a local franchise. So the locals really determine how much bandwidth, for instance, they offer you. If you have fiber, you could turn the speed up a little bit, and you may say that's plenty. It's just you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like you're slow?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, I do. I feel like sometimes I wait and wait and wait. And so.
That may not be how much bandwidth you have. There are other factors. The computer itself, the router you're using. Are you using Wi-Fi? Is it going through the air?
It is Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So,
and I also have I have that Apple thing that it goes to the Apple, what's that called?
iCloud.
The storage.
iCloud.
iCloud. It's a little storage.
Oh
yeah.
The time capsule. Yeah.
It goes to the time capsule as well.
Okay, so Apple routers are pretty good, but if you have a neighborhood that has a lot of Wi-Fi, that can also cause slowing because of the conflict in signals. So there's lots of things that can mean your internet is not as fast as it ought to be. Going to Time Warner won't necessarily fix any of those. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll talk more in a second. So, oh, she's gone. Right, that little sound, bonk, means she's gone.
Hey, lady.
Hey, lady. So, Tamara, if you're still listening on the radio, no, because you're not, because it's only...
Tamara, jump in the chat room and let us know.
I wasn't as definitive as I'm sure she wanted, but I can't say definitively that 100 megabits will even be better than 18 megabits if there are other issues on your local network. But all other things being equal, it should be better. If you can go up to 45 megabits on Uverse, maybe just get 18's not. I'd like more than 18. But for instance, one of the things she said is the pages aren't loading fast. Well, that may just be a DNS issue. That may not be bandwidth issues. And this is why it's hard to explain this to people, to normal people, because there are so many things that are involved here. And we learned this, didn't we, with the Netflix Chromecast furor. Even now, I don't think we really know what happened there. But Netflix was complaining from a year ago that was it Comcast or Verizon? I can't remember. Well, they certainly had a problem with Verizon, but they were. I guess it was Verizon. From a year ago, they were complaining. Yeah, they're turning our bandwidth down, and so Netflix customers on Comcast aren't getting. They're buffering or they're getting the lower quality picture, and that's not because they don't have enough bandwidth at they call it the last mile, the connection from your house to the cable company or the phone company. It's called the last mile, even though it might be 100 feet. That last mile, it may be 100 megabits, but there's so many things upstream from that Netflix accused, I think was it Comcast or was it Verizon? Anyway, they accused Comcast of not buying enough hardware at the interconnect where Netflix internet service provider, Cogen or Level 3, reached Comcast's service. There's a interface there, and the interface was maxed out. And all Comcast had to do is buy another one, and then everything would be fine. But they didn't. And so as a result, people who use Netflix were getting poor results. But then Comcast said, no, it wasn't us. We have plenty of interconnect. It's Cogent. We're Level 3. I can't remember. I think it was Cogent. Isn't buying enough on their end, and we never will know. We can never know. So it's so complicated. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, nickname in the chat room, says, Leo, what's with all the geek obfuscation? People just need simple answers. You know, I wish I could give you a simple answer tomorrow. Because it is, but it isn't simple, and unfortunately, there are so many things that can factor into this. The simple answer would be a lie. That's why I don't give a simple answer. I don't want to lie to you. And advertising lies in this case. 100 megabits down from Time Warner, 45 megabits down from Uverse may have nothing to do with your experience of the internet. For instance, one of the things Tamar said is, my web pages don't load very fast. Well, that may have not, you'd think that has to do with the bandwidth, but may not have anything to do with the bandwidth. It could have everything to do with how quickly, for instance, the DNS lookup happens. I know this is geek obfuscation, but it's a fact. The internet's complicated. And so in order for you to get to a web page, your browser has to look up, you type in yahoo.com, it has to say, well, what's that number? And it has to almost, in effect, go to the Internet Directory Assistance and say, well, what is the number? Because it needs a number. What is the number for yahoo.com? If that directory assistance, we call it DNS, Domain Name System, if that directory assistance is slow, the web page won't load until it gets that answer. That could be the whole problem. And changing internet service provider wouldn't necessarily fix that. And that's just one of literally dozens of things that could cause you to have slow internet. It would be wonderful if all you had to do is buy the most bandwidth, but that doesn't necessarily fix it. And in fact, what you may notice is more bandwidth doesn't speed anything up at all because the places you're going to aren't as fast as you are. So it isn't the case that you could just say, oh, 100 megabits per second is faster than 45 megabits. It's not necessarily. It is more complicated. So, but let me give you the simple answer. The fundamental question Tamara was asking is, I have 18, and by the way, a little asterisk here. This is what they're telling you you're getting. I have 18 megabit service from AT&T Uverse right now. I saw an ad on the Super Bowl that Time Warner will give me 100 megabit service for a little, not so much more money. Should I get it? I really don't want to. I want to say it depends because that's the right answer. But my answer, I guess, would be no. Because she's going to lose her AT&T email address, and there's all sorts of other issues. Stick with what you got. You might look at spending a little more to get a higher tier of service from AT&T Uverse. If they do indeed have fiber, it sounds like they do, maybe get the 25 megabit service. Or if you can afford it, get the 45 megabit service. And see what happens. See if that's faster. It'll be easier for you to go up and down there than it is to change service provider. That's going to be much more complicated. So I'd stick with, if I were you, I would stick with AT&T for the time being. Don't be seduced by the Super Bowl ad. There, that's a simple answer. Roger in San Pedro, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Roger?
Oh, I'm doing real good, except I've got inquiries in my Samsung Galaxy Relay S3 that I'd like to get rid of.
You have what?
Inquiries, not quite ready technology.
Inquiries. I've never heard that one.
I made it up.
I like it. So what's not quite ready about your S3?
Well, we can start off with the battery situation.
Yeah.
I put the thing in, it comes up, it says 100%. I unplug it, and instantly it may say anything from 100% down to maybe 70%.
Here's the good news. That S3 is a couple of years old. Lithium-ion batteries, the kind of battery that you use in all smartphones, have a limited number of charge cycles, usually around 500. Once
I've tried 3 different batteries.
Oh, you put a new battery in and it didn't fix it?
No, I'll still act the same. And you have then the third one as well.
All right. Well, good. Okay, so you're ahead of me. So normally getting a new battery, and the nice thing about the S3, you just pry the back off, put a new $20 battery in, and you're good to go. Would fix it. If it didn't, then that means the charging system's messed up. Have you tried resetting the phone? Maybe it's just software. Have you tried resetting the phone?
Okay. How do you reset the phone?
In the settings of all Android devices, there is, and it's usually in. I should look at my Android device and see where it is. But
does this lose me all my contacts and stuff?
Yeah, it'll make the phone like it was when it came from the factory.
Do this.
Well, but here's good news. Do you use Google?
I do.
Yeah, well, Google's backing up your contacts, your calendar, everything right now already. So the best way to do this, just to make it so that it's not such a big deal to go back. And by the way, it's not a bad idea to do this from time to time. The best way to do this, go into your settings, and you'll see in the settings there's a backup. Mine, it says backup and reset. It depends on the version of Android you're using.
I've seen something to that effect.
Yeah. So do a backup, and you could just press backup account, and you just press that button, and it'll back up your account, make sure backup my data is turned on, and automatic restore is turned on. It's going to back up your app data, your Wi-Fi passwords, your settings to the Google servers, including your contacts.
Pictures?
Not pictures. Offload your pictures. They'll be lost.
Okay.
Any data like that, documents that you've created, yeah, back those up. They'll be lost. And then, in that same, I think it'll be in the same menu on your S3, there is a factory data reset. Now, I'm not saying this is guaranteed to work, but it's the next thing you'd try. You did try the first thing, which I would have suggested, which is, well, try another battery. That didn't work. Well, let's see if it's software. If it's software, resetting to a factory data reset will bring it back to the way it was when it came from the factory. See if that fixes it. By the way, after you do the factory data reset, you are going to want to check for updates and update your phone.
Got it. I understand that. But do you know if this battery charge level is detected by the actual amount of current charged into the battery, or is it some kind of algorithm about how many times you've charged it and how many minutes you've charged it?
It's my understanding, but I'm not sure about this, but it's my understanding that Android phones actually keep track of battery discharge times, battery recharge times, use times, and they calculate what the expectation based on that.
Yeah, that's where the problem's coming from. I'm virtually certain.
Does it so does it in fact? I mean, is it accurate when it says you're down to nothing in 2 hours? It's accurate.
It's close at that point.
All right.
By the time you start off, it's not accurate.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I would try a reset. There is a calibration process that it goes through, and I suppose that could be screwed up, but that should be fixed by a reset.
I understand. I've tried those resetting things you get off the internet about discharge, recharge,
right?
Magic phrases, and wait a while and charge it.
Most of that's voodoo, by the way. Lithium-ion batteries don't have any of those problems that NiCads and earlier nickel metal hydride batteries had. So
yes, I was going to say it doesn't really seem to help.
It doesn't do anything. When your phone gets to zero, does it die?
Yeah, it dies.
Okay, so it's accurate.
Okay, well, it's accurate on that end of it.
Yeah, it's accurate. So it's giving you good information. I would try a reset. Failing that, you have a hardware issue. Here's the good news. You've had that phone long enough, you probably can get a free upgrade from your carrier at this point. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I like that. Ah, my friends, 'tis time to speak of many things. Of cabbages and, what is it, sealing wax? Something in sealing wax, cabbages and kings. Or better yet, personal capital. Yay, we love personal capital. I've been using it since I found out about it, which was right when they first started. Must be more than 2 years ago. Now, I actually interviewed the founder on Triangulation, and I was so excited I signed up. And Personal Capital has gotten better and better in the intervening time. It is such a useful tool, and you need it. What does personalcapital.com do? Well, it makes sure that you get the most out of your money. Problem with money is it's hard to keep track of. It's all on different websites with different passwords, and frankly, I bet you haven't visited your money in a while. Maybe your investments, your advisor. Have you talked to your investment advisor? Are you putting money away for retirement? Personal Capital is such a great way to do this. It puts everything on one page. You set it up with all your accounts. Just takes a minute. And then you will know where everything is. If you wish, you can use Personal Capital and their certified financial planners for investment advice. In fact, for a limited time, they're managing over $1 billion in investments right now. For a limited time, when you open a Personal Capital account, they'll give you $100 for every $100,000 you deposit, up to $10,000. That's nice. It's automated. It's efficient. It's down to earth. It'll let you know exactly where you stand, and you can get financial advice from them as well. Schedule your free one-on-one investment consultation today. There's a limited, I don't know how long it's going to offer. It's a limited time offer, so do it right now. With their award-winning financial app, you can monitor your income, your spending, the performance of your investments on a single screen in real time on Android, on iOS, on Amazon, even on your Android Wear watch. You could find and eliminate high mutual fund and 401k fees, other hidden brokerage fees that could be shaving years off your retirement. That's all free, and you can get investment advice too. And I love this. They'll give you $100 for every $100,000 you deposit. Why wait? Now's the time to invest smarter and open a Personal Capital account. Make taking control of your financial future one of the goals of your new year, 2015. Wealth management for the digital age. Why wait? Go to personalcapital.com/techguy right now and set up your free account. And for a limited time, if you qualify, Personal Capital will give you $100 for every $100,000 you deposit, up to $10,000. Personalcapital.com/techguy. And we thank them so much for the support of their Tech Guy show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. Jeff in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Jeff. Leo Laporte here.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I'm good. It's hammer time.
It's hammer time, exactly. Yeah, I asked the call screener. I'm currently with Verizon, and I have an iPhone 5, and I want to go to the 6. I have a grandfather plan in, and of course, when you want to get the subsidized phone, they want to put you on their newer plan.
Yeah, the only way to keep your unlimited data on Verizon is to pay full freight for the phone, even if you're due a subsidy.
I thought it was funny because I even called customer service, and they said, well, you can get the phone, and after the fact, we can write a letter or something to the fact to customer service to see if you could keep your grandfather plan. So I kind of thought that was interesting.
But no promises, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll write a letter. Sure. I don't know. If anybody's listening and that letter has actually worked, let me know. Because everybody I've ever talked to say, yeah, no, the minute you get a subsidized phone from Verizon, you're off your unlimited plan.
Yes.
It's funny. AT&T's CEO said, the stupidest thing I've ever done was to agree to unlimited data on iPhones. They had, and this was in 2007 when the iPhone came out, no one understood how much data smartphone users would be using. And it's expensive for them. And and all the companies deeply regret unlimited data. Now they're in trouble, though, because the FTC has said, because what they have been doing is unlimited data. And I put that in air quotes because when you get to your limit, 5 or 3 gigs or whatever that is, they throttle you. They slow the bandwidth down so much. It's still unlimited. They're not limiting your data, but they're not giving it to you at the same speed. And the FTC investigated and has now ruled you cannot say you can offer throttled data, you can offer unlimited data, but never the twain shall meet. You cannot say it's unlimited if you plan to throttle it. And now that makes them even less likely to want to have you on as an unlimited user. They're very uninterested.
Yeah, and I use my phone a lot for business. I travel throughout the the U.S. and out down in the Caribbean. So it's definitely, I need the data from like your earlier callers, maps, etc. So
yeah, I think what you do is you make the calculation. All right, if I don't take subsidy, it's going to cost me $500 or $600 more probably. How much is it going to cost me to change data plans? You know, look how much data you use. You should check how much data you use. You may find, hey, I only use 3 gigabytes. It sounds like I'm going to use a lot. 3 gigs is a lot. 5 gigs is a lot. You may not need unlimited.
I think they did we looked at my account, it up to 15.
Oy, you need unlimited.
Yeah, and I'm only paying $29 a month.
Oh, they hate you. You're grandfathered, baby. I don't know why they can't just say, hey, we've decided not to offer that anymore. So guess what? You don't have it anymore. But they apparently feel that they can't do that. So they trick you or attempt to. We'll write a letter.
There you go.
Hey, no problem. We'll write a letter. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll write a letter. I've got my note cards right here, my pen. Let me see. Let's just write a letter. Please, sir, leave him on the unlimited plan, okay? No! And that's that. I think they probably have a big rubber stamp that says, no! So, yes, I wouldn't trust that letter. I would say that they want to get you off unlimited. And, yeah.
Okay, I think you've answered the question. I think I'll just buy the phone outright.
Yeah, I think if you do the math, especially, you use 15 gigs a month, buy the phone outright. There are other advantages to that. You can buy it unlocked now. And, since you travel a lot, that's probably desirable. Although, I have to say, the Verizon's run up against the feds in the past, and the FCC has required them not to lock the SIM slot. So any iPhone you buy at Verizon, you can put anybody's SIM in that SIM slot. You could put T-Mobile, you could put AT&T, no problem. You could put you can go to Colombia and use their phone service, no problem.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when I travel down to Puerto Rico on business. I roam, and that the service is terrible. But T-Mobile, they have 4G lightning speed down there, and it's amazing.
Yeah, T-Mobile's great. Well, they're a German company, so they have a good international presence. It's Deutsche Telekom owns T-Mobile. We'll see how much longer that lasts. Yeah, I would say keep your unlimited data. Hold on to it firmly as long as you possibly can. They really don't want you to have it. That should tell you you're getting a deal. Jeff in Simi Valley, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Leo. Swami of the digital age.
Swami. Oh, digital Swami.
Yeah. Listen, I have thanks to you, I got my Epson workforce printer.
You like it?
I love it.
All right, they're an advertiser. Disclaimer here, but yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that.
I love it. I love it.
Good.
Listen, I need to know how to rip a soundtrack from a homemade DVD to a DVD.
Yes. Homemade DVD to another DVD or to your disk, hard drive, or basically you want to separate audio from video.
Yes. Yes.
DVD muxes or multiplexes the audio and the video into a single file. The video is stored in an MPEG-2 format. The audio is stored in AAC format. You can easily separate them. There are commercial programs I've recommended in the past, like DVD Audio Extractor. You can get a 30-day trial of that. It's from DVDAE.com, DVD Audio Extractor, and it does exactly that. You put the DVD in, gives you the audio track.
Okay, what's that again?
Well, I'm going to give you a free one, too, but this is the easiest, DVDAE.com. But a program we've recommended and many people have and everybody should have, VLC, the Video LAN Client Media Player, will also do that as well. You can extract audio by converting a DVD into a audio file. So
soundtrack.
Yeah. So you can do that with VLC as well. That's free. It's an open source program. Everybody should have it anyway. It does all sorts of cool things.
Is a VLC.com?
It's videolan.org. VIDEOLAN.org. Video LAN Client's an interesting story. It was originally written by, I always say French schoolboys. I think they're probably university students, but it was written by some French students as a client-server system. That's why it's called Video LAN Client. There was also a Video LAN server. But what people discovered is it's one of the best video players, can handle a lot of formats, and has a lot of additional capabilities, including like this, taking the sound off of a DVD.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it's free. Videoland.org. Every platform, Mac, Windows, everywhere. It's great.
Wow.
Yay.
Well, that'll work.
I have given you the answer. Life is a bowl of cherries.
Yeah, videoland.com.
Videoland.org. You'll know you're there when you see the French schoolboys. Actually, that's a cookie, isn't it? Jeremy in North Hollywood. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think it's time to reset this Android device because it's really, the battery is dying fast and it's sluggish. So what I'm worried about is I took a lot of time setting up the Android system. Like there's an app organizer.
Oh, you got all the folders and all just so, and you don't want to start over there, do you?
I don't know if I reset it, is all the stuff going to come back like that?
Well, the apps will come back, but the setup won't.
And how about the passwords and logging in?
Yeah, the passwords, if you go into the backup and reset part of the settings on your Android phone, you'll see a switch that says backup passwords, settings, and application data to Google. Turn that on. Say backup this phone. It'll back it up. In fact, I keep that on all the time. It's always backing up in case I lose the phone or whatever. Remember, I'm the guy who has a new phone every 5 minutes, so this is very useful for me. And then when you restore it, it'll start downloading new versions of the apps. But the organization is going to change. Let me tell you how I can solve that when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Wow. The judge is considering a new trial because of the Serial podcast. Oy. So, yeah, helium is one solution. But here's what I do. I am using new Android phones daily. Almost daily. So I am constantly moving from one phone to the other. And Android's really well suited for doing this. With an iPhone, you could use iTunes and or iCloud and back up the phone and restore it. There isn't a system quite like that for Android. As I said, Google will back up a lot of the stuff, but not things like layout. So what I do is I use a different desktop manager. I use Tesla Coil's Nova Launcher. So Nova Launcher is nice because it replaces the standard. And by the way, there is no standard. So Google uses its own Google Now launcher. Samsung has its own, and everybody has their own. But Nova Launcher looks the same on all phones. So I use Nova, and then Nova has a really nice feature. With Nova, I can back up my setup. So you notice I have a fairly elaborate setup. I have folders. I have lots of widgets that I use. And I want my Android phones to always look like this. So what I do with Nova Launcher is I back up the setup, and I don't back it up to the phone. I back it up to Google Drive. So you can choose where you're going to. This is the secret. You can put it on the device, or you can put it in document storage. So I'm going to back up my setup right now, and it backs it up to Google Drive. Oh, see, I have other backups here too. So now, when I get a new phone, first thing I do is I log into my Google account. It immediately starts restoring the passwords, the application data. It starts downloading the apps. It takes a while, even on Wi-Fi, but within an hour, it's got everything on the phone. All the apps are there, but of course, my desktop looks different. Then I run Nova Launcher, make that the default launcher, and in Nova Launcher, I restore, and I restore from, or I guess they call it import. No. Yeah, I'm sorry, here it is, restore. I restore from my Google Drive because I'm logged into Google Drive almost immediately because that's part of my Google thing. I restore, and then this suddenly has all the folders and the setups. And so this is something I do a lot. If I have a new Android phone within 2 hours, for most of the time is spent passively. You know, I'm doing something else because it's just downloading apps. I can get it so close. Now I still have to log into things. You know, you have to log into Instagram and log into Facebook and all that. That's where LastPass is really handy. LastPass allows me to paste in the password so I can very quickly log into everything. So it doesn't take me very long to get every phone kind of set up and ready to go, and looking almost identical to this. So that's the combination of things. Now, I haven't tried this, but people love this. This is from the Clockwork Mod folks. It was originally, what do they call it? They had kind of another name for it, but the nice thing about this is no rooting is required. You don't have to root the phone before you use it. It's helium, and it backs up everything. I don't know. Does it back up the oh, no, you do have to root it. I don't know. I thought you didn't have to root it. No, it doesn't require root. I should try this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. We're talking about something you don't do but every few years, but when you do it, it's nice to be able to do it easily. Moving to a new phone. Jeremy actually, this is a case of not moving to a new phone, but wants to reset his Android device and get it back to the way it was. So there's two ways to do this. I move to new phones like weekly. I get new Android and iOS and Windows Phone devices all the time. And with iOS, it's easy. You just back up your phone to iTunes or the iCloud and restore, and then your phone will look the same. I like that. A little more complicated with Android. Probably the way to do it is to get this program. It's called Helium. It's free. Clockwork Mod is the company that makes it. Helium, like the gas, and it just backs everything up. I guess it probably ends up doing some. I've never used it because I have a different system that's a little more complicated, but I would guess it's somewhat similar to the iTunes system where you back up the phone, then erase it, and then restore it. It does allow you to back up to the phone, or if you have an SD card in the phone, which would be the fastest, or back it up to cloud storage, which is probably what you'd want to do. Something like Dropbox or your Google Drive. So, I have to try this and see if this does everything I want. But that's the way I would do it, Jeremy. If I just did this once in a while, it might be the right solution for you. I mentioned, I was talking off the air, that the way I do it is a little bit more complicated. I always make sure that Google's backing up at all times. Reset the phone or get a new phone. And I just log into my Google account. Google will then restore everything it can, including most of my apps and my app settings and so forth. And then I use a proprietary launcher, or not proprietary, a free launcher that is not a Google product. It's called Nova Launcher, and it allows me to restore the desktop with all the folders and the widgets and the way I like it exactly right. So that's fast. 8888 Ask Lee. I hope that works for you, Jeremy. And it is a good idea. I mean, just like any computer, to start over, to format and reinstall. I do that on Windows machines, on Macs, on phones. I do that fairly frequently. It just fixes a lot of little niggling problems. Matt in Fullerton, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Leo. Yeah, I heard a couple callers back, a guy with the unlimited data on Verizon, and I had the same issue about last May, and a guy actually in store, in a Verizon store, he helped me save my data, or my data plan, and not have to.
He did.
Some smaller.
Did he write a letter? How did he do it?
It wasn't writing a letter. Actually, it was kind of funny. He pulled me aside and was like, "Well, what are you going to do? You're going to lose your data." And I said, "Well, I really don't want to." And he said, "Well, here's what you do." And it did cost me a little. I had to add a line for $10 a month. But it's a dummy line. There's no phone or anything with it. But I got to keep my data, and it's a lot cheaper than going up to some of the higher end data plans.
So let me understand this. So you add a second line. Now you have two lines. One you're not going to ever use, and you get the new phone on that second line.
My phone's still on my line with my phone number and everything. I don't know exactly what they do there in the system, but on my account I have a another phone line. There's a phone number associated.
Well, yeah, but I think what he did is he got the new phone as a subsidized new phone on that new line. That new line now has the bad data plan, but the old line you didn't replace the phone, except that you did, because you take that new phone and you swap the SIMs. You put that old SIM, the old line SIM, into that new phone, and they don't know. They're none the wiser.
Right, and then on my account it shows some dummy phone. I think it's a Droid or something like that associated with it. I think it's a Razor, an old one. It all looks above board and everything on paper, but I only had to pay an extra $10 a month, and it's definitely worth me.
For the rest of your life, by the way. You can't cancel that line now.
And like that other caller, I go 15 and over 15 gigs a month, but it's definitely worth it.
Oh, yeah, $10 a month to be worth it. I wonder, though, I guess, why couldn't you just cancel that line in a few months? I guess because you'd have to pay an early termination fee. That's why. Because you now have an early termination fee on that line. Yeah. Hey, clever. Thank you for the tip.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. So there is a little way to kind of get around Verizon's restrictions. They really want to get you off that unlimited plan. I know they do. Chris, Miami, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Leo.
Hey.
Hey. So I have one.
You don't have to shout. Telephone technology has improved.
I just get excited when I call you. I can't help myself. So I have one question and one comment, and then I'll let you get on because I know you have the whole planet that wants to talk to you. They put a new Whole Foods market downtown Miami now. So if you come here, we have 3 of them now.
Is this the one where you got pestered?
No, this is a new one, actually. This one's nice. It's very metro looking.
What's it called?
Whole Foods Market.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so the important thing is that I've yet to get an iPhone 6. And now they're coming out with the Apple Watch. I just wanted to get your opinion on, should I skip the phone for now because I'm going to get one anyways and go right for the Apple Watch, or should I give the Apple Watch some time and get the phone first?
The Apple Watch does work with the 5, I think the 5S, 6, and 6 Plus. I think you do have to have a fairly recent iPhone to use it. You'll get more features if you have the 6 because Apple Pay will work with the watch. If you have, but only if you have an iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, I believe.
Okay.
So you may want to get a new iPhone 6. I think so you're interested in that Apple Watch. We know it's going to come out in April now.
I love them. I mean, I see you wearing these things all the time, and I'm a watch person. I'd love to have them, but they're saying they're supposed to be one of the best watches in the world. But
well, who knows? No one knows. Anybody who's saying that is guessing.
Okay.
Or they work for Apple, in which case you can't assume that that's it's the best watch Apple's ever made. I'll grant you that.
Yeah, it's nice.
So it looks good. I will buy one, of course. You can get the gold one. You can get the $6,000 one.
No, I'm going to let you do that first.
There are 3 models. There's the inexpensive rubber band model, which will be $350. There's a stainless steel. We don't know what that's going to cost, but it's be more than $350. And then there's a gold one, which watch aficionados say there's no way they can do a gold watch for less than $5,000. Plus, don't forget, you're going to have fashion designer wristbands. So you need to get, a few of them, like the beautiful Milanese loop band, which I think is quite gorgeous. So I don't know. I don't know which one I'm going to get. It won't be, I don't think, the gold one. It's silly to get a expensive gold watch unless you can pass it on, unless it's jewelry, unless it's an heirloom. If it's a watch that's obsolete in a year, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah.
I have a prediction. I think Apple, recognizing that, is going to do something with the gold watch, like say, we guarantee an upgrade or something. If you're going to spend that much money on a watch, you've got to have some sort of upgrade path.
Yes, kind of insurance.
Yeah. But I'm interested in it. I feel like I wear the Android Wear watch. I'm wearing a Moto 360 right now. I feel like it's a luxury, first of all. No one needs a smartwatch. It's a luxury of perhaps dubious value. There's no reason you can't just pull the phone out of your pocket, see what time it is, or check who's calling. I mean, do you really need the watch to tell you who's calling? Or, oh, you got a text message. On the other hand, these watches, you can respond to them. And I'm hearing some use cases that are interesting. One of the people who's been wearing a watch, he works at Apple, told Nick Bilton, who writes for the New York Times. Nick told me, so hey, it's only third hand, that it was very handy for him when he wanted to go to lunch. His colleague, who's also wearing an Apple Watch, he just draws an L on the Apple Watch, and the L appears on his colleague's watch, and I guess they know that means go to lunch. And he says, that's great. Well, all right. I'll take your word for it. I have to buy it because, you know, I mean, that's my job, but, you know, there's some value to having notifications on your wristwatch. There's health value too. It's a pedometer. That's nice. I think it's one of those things that you or anyone else is going to feel urgency that you have to get one. But it might be nice. And a $6,000 one, that's pure status symbol. That's the people who buy Rolexes and, you know, Ferraris, and that's just somebody who wants to say, hey, I show off. I got enough money to waste it. That's what it tells me. Because it's going to be functionally exactly the same as the $350 watch. It's just going to be gold. 19 karat gold, they say. That's the edition. But all three models will come in two sizes, a 38 millimeter and a 42 millimeter. One for women and one for men, I guess. Hey, I'm out of time. Thank you, Heather Hammond, our phone ranger, Nathan Staten, our musical director. Thanks to you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week now. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.